Good evening, free enterprise fans. Thank you to RPG Limit Break for letting us host this wonderful 1-0 matchup of the Lali-Ho Swiss League between JBrun and jeebus. Again, welcome everyone to some fantastic free enterprise. I am joined by the one and only Ground Flyer. How are
Hope
you this evening, Ground?
I'm pretty good. I'm also thankful I'm the only one of me because honestly, that'd be pretty horrifying. But yeah, this race is going to be heckin' awesome. These are two phenomenal racers. Jeebus was excellent and probably got a little bit of bad luck back in the 3 miss zone and ended up getting eliminated before brackets, but he was incredibly good and could beat anybody. And I think he is getting back into form and he's gonna rock. And Jay Brun is has been playing a lot of especially like community race stuff lately, and he is also amazing. And like to me, this is the match of the week. I'm so excited. What do you think about our racers here?
Yeah, this is, to your point, definitely one of the matches of the week. Certainly a highlight as far as two top tier runners going at it. Jay Brun has been phenomenal in the club racing scene in between tournaments. And Jeebus, if you know anything about Free Enterprise, you've seen Jeebus all over the place. The man's knowledge of this game is is way up there with the absolute best of them. It's going to be a great show, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. I do have a question though for you, Ground Flyer. Uh, is is there something wrong with the game, or am I just not seeing a starting character? I really don't understand what's going on. Do my eyes deceive me?
Yeah, no, it's confusing. I think somebody left their kid in the start screen, and I don't know. I mean, it's not it's not really a character. I don't know. So that's weird. I guess we're just gonna start funny. We'll just see how it goes. It's gonna be, it's strange not starting with an actual character, but well, they'll make do. These are expert racers. They'll figure out how to play with no one.
That's fair, and I do see some good objectives there. So I know that there's at least two more characters somewhere in the seed. There's a Rydia, which is a great anchor, and there's a Rosa, which I mean Rosa is Bay after all, so that takes care of any issues of no starting character.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, all the requirements so far, and the starting character is very magic centric. I wouldn't be surprised if things went the magic route than the physical DPS. But I mean, who knows what'll end up happening? But yeah, having that Rosa, knowing a Rosa is in the seat is kind of relieving because she is a powerhouse of every kind and can heal up better than anyone. So knowing she's going to be available, hopefully you get her early on. But yeah, I mean, Rydia, not as awesome. She has some utility, obviously. If you find a Bahamut, that's going to be great. But the real question here is there's two character checks or two characters to get, and we have to find them somewhere in the world. They could be, they could be in Baron Inn, or they could be at Zot, or they could be hidden behind a whole bunch of garbage, or at Giant, or like somewhere just absolutely disgusting. So I'm kind of hoping that one of them is super obscure and hard to get, and they have to go through some nonsense to get there.
Well, but what about a lot of nonsense to get either or both? Like, let's say the Sand Ruby has a Rydia, and then there's a Rosa on the Giant, but the Sand Ruby's from Demisted CPU. A guy can hope and dream, right?
I mean, I'm here for that. I like that. Let's do the theory crafting. Oh, and hey, there's your other
Ooh,
favorite melee guy, Val at Beigen. So that's gonna kind of make that trip into Baron gross. She's not fun anywhere. Although one thing that can be said, if you do get Baron early, she will not be gating the only way underground. So, the magma key or hook would be somewhere on the overworld that's not that.
that's true. And special shout out to our restreamer and seed roller extraordinaire Asuka on this one. Let's just start with a spoon. So in case you find Edward, Asuka wants you to keep that Edward in your starting five for this seed for sure. So we'll see where our runners go and hunt for some loot and whatnot. But that spoon is very exciting.
Yeah, I mean that could bring up a bunch of it could be a lot of the options. Obviously, if you get Edward, that's great. If you get Edge, that's a quick quad nines on any boss. That could be really nice too. Like that's super useful in some utility. Obviously, it's not like a key item that gates other things or whatever, but there's definitely use for it. If you get an early Edward, he can become a complete powerhouse with that spoon in his hand because the spoon has 255 attack power. Nothing comes close to it, and even with his super weak stats, he'll still be throwing out some big numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Jeebus was poking around Baron, found a shop with Cure 3s, some bombs, which can be helpful on Mount Ordeals, and also found Rydia being guarded by elements in the Baron pub. Meanwhile, Jabrun was able to actually sneak a Gungnir spear out of Watery Pass, which is a phenomenal start for Kane, as well as a Siren. Groundflyer, why are Sirens so good?
Because they're really loud and annoy people. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean like in the game? Because if you go to certain place, anywhere you use it, you use one. It brings up the what is it? The most rare encounter in that space. And some places, if you do that, it brings up a fight that is super high in experience and maybe sometimes super easy. There's a place underground where you can pull up these dragon eggs, and you can, if you hit them for like 1800, you beat them up instantly, and they're like, my gosh, is it like 38,000 XP? I forget exactly what the number is.
30, yeah, 34,000
34.
experience for just dealing 1,800 damage to an enemy that won't attack you if you can kill it immediately.
Totally. So like, oh yeah, and then so I guess Pancras said there's a coffin. If you got that call,
Hmm.
you can just drop one immediately, which is even nicer. But that's, even one siren's super useful because that 34,000 XP like early on can just give you a good bump. If you're somewhere and you just need to beat up some stuff a little bit easier, get a few extra levels on some low level characters, and that's going to really kind of get you moving pretty well, which is super useful. But that Cane with the dwarf, one of the starting items in one of the kits is a dwarf axe, and that's going to back row him. So back row on top of a Gungnir for a level Cane, and he's actually going to be like semi legit even now, even with his low stats. So he's going to be some early game power, his physical DPS. So I'll be curious to see how good he is, because he is somewhat equipment dependent, but having that spear this early on is a huge deal.
Yeah, not only that spear, but Jeebus spiked a rune axe in the watery pass, the back of it as well. That is another huge pickup. That is mage exploitation right there. So that's going to allow Jeebus to take on Asura, the Magus sisters, anything like that, and have quite an easy time doing it. This Cane is going to be a hard carry early on in the siege, so much so that I don't think we even see Rydia stay alive to use that Sylph summon. That's how strong this Cane is going to be early on with what Jeebus has found. Now, Jabrun, having looted Antlion, found a Sork Robe to go with that Sylph summon. That may sway things in a different direction for him based on what loot he has versus has not found compared to Jeebus. So I'll be very interested to see how they go about it. Oh, there's a Yang and guarded by an Odin up on Mount Hobbs.
It looks like Jeebus might be taking him on. I mean, not getting a Yang early on. Maybe that's useful for a little bit of anchoring, or hopefully you can get him up some levels and he can actually do a little bit of damage. He's kind of rough early on, but
Or he can just start with a Thunderclaw, and if he can actually hit
yes,
something, this Odin's just going to fall over. I
that would
mean,
happen.
that
He started with Thunderclaw.
he did, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Odin
gosh.
guarding him, saying, "Here, kill me."
Yeah. Okay. 849 damage for base level Yang. Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah,
holy heck. Yeah. That's a great way to start a Yang too. So yeah, anything thunder resistant is going to get pretty blown up by Yang. His
yeah.
elemental strengths with those claws are actually kind of nuts.
And this, so we see in Antlion Cave now. Jay Brun is fighting said Magus sisters. He is not going to have as easy a time as Jeebus is, simply because of that rune axe. He's still going to get through it, no problem. But this is just going to be decimation on Jeebus' side.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's hard to like. Even looking now, like it looks like I think a jump from Kane and an arrow from Porum was enough to take out Cindy. So, even that was super fast. But yeah, no, most definitely like being able to rune axe one shot. Probably just doesn't even need to jump, just like swing. That's going to save some time. Um,
Yeah,
Kane has so many weapons at his disposal that the utility of that can sometimes be really useful. Sometimes you don't care, you just want a strong weapon. But sometimes there's definitely some things with weaknesses and stuff that he can use that is incredibly helpful. And we got a magma key. We are headed underground. That's a very spicy find. A good thing neither of our runners faded this spot, because that would be unfortunate.
yeah, and heads up from Jabrun, also using that exit. Knowing that they have a siren and a coffin, I assume that there will be at least one egg cracked once they get underground. Knowing that Porum will learn exit, that is going to be, a nice thing to just get out of the inventory, free up a spot so you don't have to worry about, needing that extra inventory space. As we all know, the ultimate free enterprise boss is the inventory boss.
Oh yeah, there's Kane just taking, was it Sandy for like 1800 HP.
Yeah.
At his low level, that's some damage. And so he is headed underground as well. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, this is going to be getting. I think there's going to be some divergence going on pretty soon. I mean, they might both go underground, but there's a lot of places to check right now, and it would behoove the runners to do a little more easy overworld stuff. Although I think we'll probably see the discount double check at Sheila getting the the extra Sylph one with defend as well. So that'll save him a trip.
Yeah, I think you end up going underground here, mainly because, as you said, you don't want to be double dipping for Ghoul. So you make sure you get that Sheila 1 check in. With the Siren and the Coffin, there's even some thoughts to getting levels, and then going ahead and getting Dwarf Castle out of the way even, and maybe check for Rosa there. Looks like Jeebus may even be going to get Rydia first before heading underground. Knowing that Elements is the first fight, it's basically a freebie in that spot. You don't have to hit it very hard at all, and it's going to fall over. The second spot is very interesting, though. It can be very punchy. While it is slow, it hits like a truck.
A very slow-moving truck, but yes, absolutely get in its way if you can. But yeah, you don't. I mean, that's the spiciest thing about this spot is like you don't know you don't know what the second spot is, and that can make things totally ridiculous in all sorts of different ways. Like you could start with Golbez and have to deal with the the 3-minute fight, and then find just something ridiculous that's gonna like thump you in one shot. And we're getting some sparkle. Ooh, D-Lunars. I don't know. Are they? I mean, it's a slow spot, so you can probably get some damage off. But I feel like you got to be really, really careful because their counter to physical damage is not fun.
Yeah, the issue here is going to be the physical attacks. It looks like Jeebus is going to be able to at least get through it. He has the jump command. One of the things to be a little cognizant of, though, is if you kill one of them, the other one will just start fire countering for 20% health every single time. And the problem with that is after 3 or 4 moves, people will just fall over and die. They just won't have the requisite number of HP points left to deal with it. So it'll be interesting to see how Jeebus approaches this. He's just going for the straight kill on the D-Lunars. But this is where those Fire 2 counters could get a little squirrely.
You can see this already been a spicy fight for him. Yang went down pretty early on, but honestly, with the power of that Kane, and honestly, like the fire counters, like at least that you said it's 20% of HP. At least that's somewhat consistent, and like you can kind of try and heal through it. Although Porum's now dead. What am I saying? But but that Kane jumping might be enough to take it out. Although one more hit. Oh wow! Yeah. Oh, done. Yep.
Got there. Nice fight by Jeebus. Yeah, very nice fight.
We get a rat tail, which cannot be checked out yet, but once we find a hook someplace or other, that could be a spicy find. But that objective 4 is complete, so he doesn't have to worry about finding Iridia anywhere. Now it's just a matter of finding that Rosa, who could be literally anywhere in the seat.
Yeah, Rosa, of course, being the preeminent white mage in Free Enterprise, is definitely something that you want to find as soon as possible. That is, kind of the reason why I also alluded to that Dwarf Castle check earlier, is the earlier you find her as well, the better you can get her online. But again, that was a really smooth fight for Jeebus, and now he gets to decide, does he want to keep that Rydia alive, or does he want to use her for anchoring? So he has, a lot of decisions to make in a very short time as to how he wants to approach it. And looks like we got a Luca key from the Feymarch free chest.
So yeah, that's another thing that can check. I mean, the nice thing about Luca is you can go in there and check out what the item is before fighting the boss. So you can kind of see before you have to deal with the grossness. The problem is that then you want to sometimes you want to take it out and you end up fighting some like really gross fight, because that is a pretty tough boss spot. A lot of physical DPS. I think it's really fast too. So,
yeah, it's I want to say the 3rd fastest spot in the game behind like Elements and Asura. Or maybe Elements in Zeromus. It's extraordinarily fast, not super punchy. the magic there is off the charts.
That's the magic. That's the one, right?
Yeah,
Right, and
because naturally, the way or not Free Enterprise, but Final Fantasy IV is programmed, if it's a physical boss, it's going to have super high magic attack. If it's a magic boss, it's going to have super high physical. And we have a Feymarch full of robes tonight. That is an alt gauntlet. Just a couple hooligans playing around in a Feymarch, along with three other hooligans, if you will, in a red robe. So tons of robes in the Feymarch, and very unlikely to see our runners take that on immediately, especially because we haven't found hourglasses either yet.
yeah, totally. That's the thing. As soon as you can find a way to crowd control the imps on on the Ashura side, I think you'll see them taken out pretty fast. Because dark imps, I mean, they're going to be punchy, but if you can hourglass them, stop them from moving, or stone them or whatever, if you can do something there's a lot of stuff that'll stop them in their tracks pretty quickly. So they'll probably take that on, but I don't think we'll be seeing them go back and doing the gauntlet anytime soon, because that's a long fight.
Yeah, the gauntlet it's long, but there is a kind of a saving grace about it. That the way the fight order is constructed, if I remember correctly, is the conjurers that come up as the second, third, and fourth fights there are all mage types. So if you are anchored properly, you can actually just blow them up before they even get to take a turn. So
Especially with that rune axe. Ooh.
yeah, especially with that rune axe, or even a heroine robe, which we saw available for sale in Dwarf Castle. Now, speaking of Dwarf Castle, Jeebus peeked the boss, and we didn't find a boss. And if you don't see a boss in Dwarf Castle when it starts jumping around, that means the one and only Antlion.
Yeah, because of the way the little icons are positioned, it's like in position left and right, and position forward is empty for that particular boss. So that's the one that shows up empty, which is kind of nifty. But yeah, he has the information. That's a high HP spot. So Antlion's gonna be kind of annoying there, just because you're gonna have to eat a lot of counters.
Yeah, what isn't annoying though is a second siren that Jeebus picked up, while also letting us know that the job dwarf is a quarry worker.
Oh, cool, nice. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for validating the seed. A+, 10 out of 10. But yeah,
this underground has been sparse on the high quality, high tier 5 consumables, hourglasses, coffins, sirens, etc. So those extra 2 sirens that Jeebus has, that's huge. JBrun has 1, but those 2 could make a huge bit of difference for Jeebus being able to find those exit you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, just the levels you can get from that, especially, well, they're not going to get to 10 key items, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, the levels you can get there will basically 2 of those will probably make it so that you can, as long as you have like a reasonable party, you can take out the top of tower boss and everything in dwarf, and it really makes you powerful enough to take out most of the stuff on the blue planet that's not summon boss. So that would be extra helpful if it gives him a little bit of an edge speed wise, because he doesn't have to like struggle dealing with bosses as much as JBrun does.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And we'll see, if JBrun is able to get through whatever is awaiting him at the Fabul defense. It looks like we are greeted by not just a Fabul defender himself, but a not so fearsome turtle. Caster wise, I would love to see this turtle pretty much literally anywhere else. But from a runner's standpoint, they're more than happy to see it now.
Yeah, get rid of Kainazo ASAP. And honestly, gathering the water is just going to make Kane do more damage. So who even cares? But yeah, this is a very easy fight for Kainazo. Just his wave attack is based on his current HP, and he starts with like very little. So once you do like one hit on him, even with weak characters, you're not going to have much happen. One thing Jeebus just found in the save room was a light sword, which is a pretty nice find in case he finds a Cecil. That's like basically the best non-tier 7 weapon for Cecil, and it's decent enough to make Cecil valid, I think, worthwhile. Like it's basically equivalent to a defense sword, give or take, with resistance or with accuracy and all that stuff. So that's a good find in case if he finds a Cecil, that's going to make him pretty powerful pretty quickly, and that would be a huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Cecil being the preeminent physical fighter in this flag set. He's a great addition to almost any team. Has the ability to get super high tier weaponry, can use cover strats. Basically, is the fighter you want on any team. And a very well timed Boreas by JBrun right there as well, dropping the turtle into the shell form, and then having the Boreas exploit the ice weakness of Kainatsu when the wave is not up. So very well timed on his part.
Good call, and then you don't have to worry about the life coming back. And a Dragoon Spear. I don't know if that's really what he was really hoping for. Is that one's better than Gungnir, though, so that would be an improvement for Kane. But it's not exactly what you're looking for. Obviously, you want a key item. Hopefully, Sheila has a little bit of goods.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 100 attack power, give or take. Gungnir, I want to say, is around 80, so it is a significant upgrade. It also, more importantly, can save the coffin. So if you're trying to kill an egg, you can now utilize that coffin for something different. Well, and he's going to be going back underground now because there's a vanilla pan.
You gotta love it, vanilla pan. So there's no way to do it a one shot on Fabul. You gotta go back down. You gotta beat up Yang and get an item from them, and then take the pan back up to Sheila, give it back to her, and get another item from her. So that's awesome. You got a lot more key item checks coming. I mean, it's a key item in itself too, but like there's definitely a lot more things to find. We're still obviously looking for both pieces of forge. We're looking for pink tail, and a hook in order to be able to trade that away too. So
Yeah.
and also the harp. So and obviously moon axis. Like there's a lot of key items left to find. So it behooves the racers here to just be doing a lot of key item checks.
Absolutely. And looks like Jeebus did go through and take out the egg with his coffin. So he is going to now go through and do the Sheila 1 check. Or excuse me, talk to Yang in bed, then do the Sheila 1 check. He'll get that pan, and he will also get that Goon Lance from the Fabul defense. So might be a little sad to see it afterwards, having now used that coffin, but a runner of Jeebus's caliber, I don't think a single coffin is going to determine the outcome of a race. So
that seems pretty unlikely. He's awesome, and both of these runners are very smart and know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, and like they've got utility. They've got other options in their playbook, and so if something doesn't turn out exactly the easiest way, the backup is going to be pretty close too. And so anything that minor, it might be a couple of seconds save, but I don't think it's gonna hinder these two racers. They're way too good for that.
Absolutely. Now, I did notice that JBrun's Kane only did about 730 damage, which makes me think he didn't put the Dragoon Spear on yet. Because if he had that Dragoon Spear on, these D-Lunars would have been one shot. I'm fairly confident in that.
Yeah, because that's a Dragoon Spear. It does dragon damage, or damage to dragons, or however you say that. And D-Lunars, as the D suggests, are dragons, and so they're going to get real beat up by that spear.
Yeah, unlike the D&D Mist, or, the D&D Imps, or,
Machines, all of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Those Ds stand for, I don't know, their first name. What, Derek, or,
Yeah.
Dorothy, I don't know.
Wow, Kainatsu even helping Jeebus out, deciding to take care of his anchoring for him. Always nice to see when board cooperates.
I did see, though, that Jeebus picked up Sylph and gave that to Rydia, so maybe there's an idea that, potentially you need that utility later on, just kind of have that in your back pocket, even if she's going to be at your floor, just in case that's something like if you find a gross CPU somewhere, and that utility could be a little bit of a game changer then, but most likely she's going to be taking a nap for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Sylph is a good thing to have. It's not, for me anyway, not a good enough reason to keep Rydia alive. She is the best anchor in the game, starting with 4 agility. Just so fantastic that you can build your entire party around her. She really is the centerpiece, even though she is not functionally active in the party.
Well, that's true, obviously, with the caveat that you keep her down. The downside is that there are other characters that have a less steep agility trajectory when you level up. So like Sid, for example, you can give him some levels and he can still anchor for you. Rydia definitely gains the agility fast, but if you keep her floored the entire run, she's going to do better than anybody. You don't even need a cursed ring. Like it's not going to matter. You're gonna have relative agility 1, which is 2.5 times the agility of your anchor, super fast, and it's not. You don't need to worry about 4 agility.
Yeah, now speaking of things that we do need to worry about, though, it looks like we may have Jeebus misremembering that Sheila 1 was completed. I don't know if he did or not. I don't see the pan lit up. We know he took out Fabul Defense. Ground, did you happen to catch that?
No, I'm not sure. I'm curious to see if I can check a clip because I did not. Oh, Pancraz, you're checking that out. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I was looking at JBrun stuff at the moment and missed it.
Well, if you want to go through Mount Ordeals, you have to endure the worst comedy show in the history of a free enterprise.
Nothing is worse than somebody who laughs at their own jokes. It's the worst. And that is Golbez in a nutshell. And when you don't laugh back, he then summons his dragon to kill a couple of your friends.
Yeah, pretty rude.
Does not take not being, not people not enjoying his jokes very, very well. But that's okay. With this party, honestly, you get 2 people knocked down, maybe you get a couple Star Veils up, and Golbez shouldn't be too much trouble in the Mylon spot. At least you don't have to worry about Mylon Z spot where it's a back attack and there's, maybe I guess the delay in timing and stuff like that's kind of annoying. But I don't think this is not going to be a terribly hard fight. This is not a super high. I think the magic attack here is actually kind of a joke. I don't know if you'd even need to do a Star Veil because I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage.
The magic attack here is high enough that without a veil, he could, I think, have issues. Yeah, there's a 600.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Never. Okay, well,
yeah.
I said anything at all. I guess.
The physical attack here is the lowest in the game, but the magic is still not something to sneeze at, as Jeebus unfortunately found out. It does look like he did forget that Sheila 1 check. And looks like he's now fading Ordeals, so he might be headed back underground, maybe looking at Dwarf Castle next.
Maybe even checking top of tower, actually, which,
Keyless tower.
Yeah, it's not a terrible. Yeah, if you don't have the key, like you can't do both checks in the tower battle, but you can go to the top and take on the boss there. And honestly, I think that this is a pretty quick walk to be able to get up there, and the monster boxes you can immediately fight and take out for with one shot from a Thunderclaw Yang, and you can get tier 7 loot out of it. I feel like I oftentimes get X-Cals or Crystal Swords or Hanzo Steel or Zeus Gauntlet, all sorts of amazing stuff.
I mean, the only thing you really want is an Avenger, to be totally honest, for this party right now.
Yeah.
A Light Sword's great, but for whom? We already know there's an X-Cal that comes from the Pan Bonk on Young. Kane already has a Dragoon Spear. Yes, a White Spear or a Defense Sword are marginally better, but it's close enough that kind of what you're looking for with this party. Maybe an Artemis Bow for a Porum or an Avenger for a Kane. Other than that, though, there's not a ton that you're going to get from these eyeballs that would really warrant, keeping any or upgrading any of these characters. Now, oddly enough, that Leviathan might entice Jeebus to get Rydia up and not be an anchor if he finds a suitable replacement.
Yeah, because that's a power. I guess that's the second most powerful damage summon for Rydia. So that'll do some work if she's got some levels. You can it's a nice group attack. It attacks everybody on the screen and it does a lot of damage. It's not Bahamut level, but it's going to do the work on the overworld for sure.
Yeah.
You probably won't be using it by end game on the moon or anything like that, but it absolutely would demolish everything here.
Yeah, speaking of demolishing everything, Antlion at the Calcabrina spot in Dwarf Castle is currently annihilating JBrun's party. Unfortunately for him, this spot is super punchy. He doesn't have a ton of great defensive gear, and Antlion is just going to rip through this party.
Oof, that's painful. Here you can see this is the difference where having a Siren versus not having a Siren.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He has the Siren, he just hasn't used it yet. So we may see him kind of reflexively use it now, saying, okay, if I want to do that check, I need to take care of that, or he may just go complete the Sheila loop and turn in Sheila 2's pan check right now.
Yeah, that's the one left. We'll see. This is this. Well, and actually, it looks like he's taking out Ordeals first. But yeah, the Sheila 2 check. We're going to determine whether or not Jeebus, either not doing yet or forgetting the Sheila check to get the pan and all that stuff. If that was like incredibly important or not. Obviously, the key items are helpful, but like if you miss Harp, that's going to be a game changer versus
Right.
something that's just a helpful key item utility.
Or I mean, the other thing is, if it's Hook, if it's Pinktail, or if it's let's say Darkness Crystal. There's a lot of things that Sheila 2 could have that could really kickstart this. Golbez, that's still not fun. Hopefully, I was gonna say hopefully he gets the jump timing a little early on it, unfortunately. So now Golbez gets to ha 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 his entire party. We see the unhappy menu dance, which so many of us have done before, fighting against Golbez. It's like,
all
oh,
your buttons are on an exasperation. Yeah.
Yes, it's like, please stop. Just. Oh my gosh, Golbez, go away.
He's definitely, I would say, just generally like the most annoying boss in the game, because like you could see him at the easiest, cheapest joke of a place, and he's still going to kill all but two of your characters, and still could do good magic damage. And you have to be afraid of him everywhere, even if he's like got like 400 HP in that spot. It does not matter. He's still going to knock out everybody but two. So you got to hope that that's you're going to be okay with that, because yeah, I've definitely fallen to him at like the Ordeals like Cecil fight. So and that's like 800 HP or something like that. So yeah, he'll mess up your day.
Yeah, and it looks like Jeebus does have Blink, and he also has some heavy armor of some sort on Kane. That Kane only took 81 damage from Antlion. That Yang, on the other hand, taking a solid 600.
I see him put on a Dragoon shield. I don't know if he put on other stuff, but that's probably part of it. Also, I think he might have stepped out and done his other Siren. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I know he stepped out for a minute. Maybe it was just to get gear.
Yeah, it's it'll be yeah, he did. He used both Sirens, got a little bit of gear. Just the levels as a whole are really good. JBrun did get through that Golbez, so we are going to get some new information as well. We'll see Jeebus getting through Antlion shortly, and then we'll see JBrun getting through to the back attack, as well as the Cecil changing room, as I like to call it, as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We got both runners kind of split a little bit here, and they're doing different stuff. It's kind of going to be exciting if one of them finds pay dirt. Because Jeebus here is going to get another boss check that we don't already know about, and on top of that, obviously, also a character check. So that character potentially could be Rosa, which would be huge. Basically.
Oh, hi.
Oh wow, amazing! So this spot has two of the most annoying bosses back to back, just stunning. Although, I will say, Wyvern in this spot gets slowed down a little bit at the beginning, so as not to make the fight unplayable with the back attack. So that actually gives you a little bit of buffer in terms of putting star veils and stuff up.
Yeah, and I got to give a huge credit to JBrun there. Crying with Porum is the perfect thing to do in that situation, because that's what you're doing inside. This is Golbez into Wyvern on Ordeals. Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Crying inside. That's pretty fair. Yeah, no, you don't want to see any of this stuff. That said, you want to be where JBrun is and have those at the tail end of your existence. You don't have to worry about them anymore. They're gone from the seed. So
yeah,
there's things you don't have to worry about seeing those jokers on the moon. That takes out like Val, and I mean that takes out all of the like haha gotcha bosses that are going to ruin your day, and you have to like make sure you save every single time before everything so you don't get beat up by them. So it takes out a lot of that grossness. And we got a package, which could also be a Rosa check. So that's going to be super, super interesting.
Yeah, because now we have Jeebus, who has effectively faded Sheila 1 and faded Ordeals, having chosen not to go back. So these are checks that, yes, Jeebus is ahead, air quotes, because he has this edge. He's through Dwarf Castle. But Edge is not Rosa. Edge is not an objective. Yes, he's a melee beater, and he will help Jeebus get through the seed faster. But if this package is Rosa, or maybe even Fusoya, or Cecil, because we have an Excal, there's a lot of things where this package could be a game changer. Or it could be a total dud.
But yeah, you never know about that. And
Oh
hey,
my
Bronco
goodness.
Steel to go along with that edge is not so bad. I think he already had a Mura. Yeah, so
Yeah,
and a ninja shirt if Jeebus found. I know there was one in Antlion Cave in the safe room.
yeah.
I never knew that Jabron got it.
Double Mura Ninja is nothing to be scoffed at. He's going to be able to really plow through. Might be going keyless tower, and he came back road. Oh my goodness.
Boomerang.
Um,
Wow.
like I know that I shouldn't be so excited about someone starting with a boomerang, but that's actually legitimately exciting to be able to start back row to not have edges damage cut in half. That's fantastic, and could also be stealing some siren if he did leave one eyeball remaining. I think he got a long sword, a silent staff, and a
Light
light
sword.
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got one trap or yeah, one eyeball left he can go through. Um, yeah. So this could be a siren play as well.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. Like you haven't found them yet. You don't have a hook yet. If you want to just I mean, he could propel himself up to like serious levels right now. He has a team that's good enough to do it. I mean, he has 4 playable characters and one, I don't know. But, I think that's still sufficient, honestly, like with that
Oh,
edge. And a defense sword was the second item, so
so yeah,
King has a
pan.
slightly better item, but that was all Bubkiss. That was a dud. There was no
Yeah,
key items of major value there other than the pan. You got the key item. That's it.
yeah. I mean, if there's a Cecil at the package, that Excal from the pan bonk turns into a big deal. However, the pan, fading Sheila as a whole, not required, or not going to punish Jeebus in the ultimate sense of it.
Yeah,
So,
honestly, like I gotta be honest, like that he's a little lucky that has not that none of that brought fruit because anything that could bring fruit there, if he's just not thinking about it and full clearing everything else, would absolutely train wreck his race. So
oh, absolutely. I mean, we've all been there, though. We've all forgotten Sheila. We've all forgotten pan checks. We've all forgotten, D-miss turn-ins. Um,
yeah.
we've all done it.
And there at Waterfall was a freebie boss that JBrun does not really want to see there, and King and Queen Eblin. So that's one freebie you're not going to see conveniently on the moon. So yeah, you still have a couple of other pretty free or easy bosses to deal with, but losing that one kind of stinks. Oh, and JBrun looks, I guess, to be going to check out package. Oh, I don't actually. What is he doing?
It's interesting. Flying in from the right. Uh, well, there's the Rosa. So
Why?
this now ordeals. Unless there's a dupe here, this becomes a big deal. So the
Sleep
pan,
bomb.
Jeebus fades the pan. That's fine.
Okay. Sorry. Straight up, everybody, put out your Z flags because that's the real Z is the sleeps.
I got flags for those.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, this is a package Rosa. So this is a big deal. It can't be understated that the ordeal's reward, while it was a very unpleasant path, gets an objective. This is yet again a required or partially required package, which we've seen in a number of races so far. And he who or they who finds the package and completes the check when it's required has pretty much come out ahead every single time. So, by no means is this race over, but this is a huge advantage at this very point for JBrun.
Absolutely. When you think about it, where Jeebus is at, that spot has a annoying Golbez and a lot of time, and you got to go through 3 bosses and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So from his perspective, that's going to take a long time, and he's probably going to have no interest in going after that for a little while and want to clear a lot of the quicker checks out. So we might not see him going back to that for a while, which is obviously very unfortunate for him because I don't know when he's gonna get that Rosa. That Rosa would probably finish off his team. He would just replace the unknown character that doesn't exist, and then be able to go grind and take out some business because you've got everything you need at that point.
Yeah. Well, there's Pinktail. So top of tower, paying off. However, no hook yet.
Right, exactly.
um,
You got both tails, no hook. But yeah, that's part of that's half of that objective too. So obviously, top of tower, super lucrative, good idea. good move for him on that. So, but that's something that maybe JBrun won't see for a while because a lot of people don't necessarily want to do top of tower without having tower key to make it, to make it a double check. So, it's interesting how like one person's like quick spicy check or one person's push through some tough bosses can really net them a huge advantage just based on the other player not wanting to do it yet.
Yeah, what this does tell us though is that if I'm not mistaken, we either have a vanilla darkness crystal or darkness crystal through either the Alt Gauntlet or the Dark Imps in Feymarch. I believe that's the only bit of info we don't have, unless it's of course Demist at the Magus Sisters, just doing Demist things.
Hey, keep hope alive. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, any of those things could be a path to darkness, but yeah, that's exactly right. And Jeebus is checking the vanilla spot here in Luca, at least seeing what's available here. I don't know what his character or what the levels are capable of doing against this fight. If it's something relatively free-ish, then he could definitely take it on. But if nothing else, he can get this info without fighting it. So even though that fight's a nasty fight, you get that information. That's not bad, and hopefully you can take out the boss in the process.
Yeah, he's not going to have too much of an issue with this spot because he is properly anchored. The issue with this spot really is the speed. Now, if he runs into, let's say, Leviathan down here, it could get a little messy because Leviathan's Ice 2s will deal, no joke, like 1500 damage here. But most of the scary type bosses, when they go really fast, are the physical bosses. And the physical damage here just isn't that high. He has Blink, he has some heavy armor, and he's got a fair amount of HP on his party now. So I don't think Jeebus should have too much trouble with this spot, unless it's just some sort of kind of freak confluence of a magic boss and it hitting the wrong targets.
Confluence, I love that word. Sorry, I'm a nerd about vocab. Yeah, I honestly, again, it comes back to that second siren. That siren is just that little bit extra is plenty to get him a little bit stronger, to make this Luca fight a little more possible. Whereas I think the one siren with JBrun is going to make that a lot less likely to be able to be done. But one thing that's still on the table, whether or not they find sirens, they could go and take on that gauntlet, and that gauntlet's actually going to be good grind. But here you go, vanilla darkness crystal.
Yeah. Is this even?
Is this even? It is not, apparently. Listen, Asuka got lazy and just was like, I don't feel like randomizing everything. I'll just randomize these 3 or 4 things. That's all anyone sees. Bye.
And this is a completely free fight as well.
Wow.
So
that's
this is.
Yeah, that's just you get. Well, actually, for this, would you want to? No, you wouldn't reflex strat. I guess you just full Zerk mode and just crush everything. Hopefully.
Yeah, and this is one where the firebomb here being used by Yang, who has almost 2,000 health, very heads up, exploit that fire weakness. Dealing 2k with a firebomb, you love to see it. I do wonder if a boomerang Murasame edge would have done more than a Murasame edge here. Because Mylon Z is flying, the boomerang technically does bonus damage. Is it worth? Yeah, is it worth the menuing though to do it? It's probably not. Plus, Kane I think has a Dragoon Spear, and that also exploits flying. And, he's doing just fine.
And there you go. Already done. Didn't get to flip characters or anything. Done and done. Moon time, here we come. And who knows, moon character could be Rosa too, which would make it useful that and then again Jeebus wouldn't get punished for not doing ordeals. He could just find Rosa that way and not have to do the package stuff. That would be a huge benefit to not doing that. Who knows
definitely
what's going to happen, but that's definitely possible. Because I don't think we haven't seen any dupes yet, have we? I'm trying to remember.
We have not.
Because and I mean in this, I guess what is it? It's distinct 10, and you have to see all 10, and there's 13 checks.
Yes, 3 dupes.
So there's gonna be 3 dupes somewhere in the seed. So and Rosa could be one of them, maybe not. You never know. But I think obviously at this point Jeebus wouldn't be going, I'm gonna go to ordeals. He's gonna go straight to the moon and see what's up. And check that shot. Maybe you could get sirens out of it. You could get hourglasses out of it. Like that could also be a huge game changer.
And JBrun taking the route of Drain Sword Kane with jumps to try to
Wow.
get through this antlion. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Very heads up to try it. Unfortunately,
Not gonna happen.
antlion decided to crit and said, "No dice. Have a nice day." So antlion 2, runners 1, if I believe my count is correct.
I believe that's correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's this again, and the downside here is this would be a useful place if JBrun felt the need to level up a little bit to be able to get sirens with which having an edge to steal them would be useful, which is there in dwarf, which you can't get. But
Yeah,
he's making a good play here going to Luke. He's going to find darkness. I don't know. I mean, maybe elements is free, but his crew is also weaker and doesn't have that edge. Like there's definitely some major downsides here. So I don't know if it's going to be quite as free for him.
yeah, and he still has that siren sitting in his inventory. That siren would go a long way if he were to pop that. I know that these might not be the ideal characters, but they're still party members, and they will benefit from having those extra levels. Meanwhile, Jeebus has remembered Sheila 1, which is good. He gets his pan, so he's going to follow that pan chain. He's going to get his defense sword. He's going to get his X-Scout. Not going to get any key item out of it, but he has everything done except ordeals at this point. So it'll be interesting to see if he does ordeals or if he just goes straight to the moon after completing the pan loop.
Well, he hasn't done Fate March bosses, but those other than
Well, yeah.
I mean, given the bosses, well, he might do Dark Imps though, but he's definitely not going to be doing them.
If he has size on Porum, the Dark Imps are something to consider, but without hourglasses, and without size, oh, that's a scary fight because they are full powered. All 3 Dark Imps will take on Asura's actual fighting value, and Asura punches hard. I know that his team is well set up, but that's 3 Asuras basically, and everyone knows how hard that spot hits.
Yeah, no, it's super punchy. So yeah, and honestly, I mean, it would behoove Jeebus to maybe you find hourglasses on the moon, and obviously that makes that Dark Imps fight free, basically. So I think finding out the information about what's in the moon shop. I mean, maybe I overshop, but the fact that they haven't really found anything of like actual like high tier J item value yet is surprising. I feel like of the 2 remaining shops, there's got to be something in there.
Well, Hook Shop is the one that has 2 guaranteed tier 5 consumables from either elixirs, sirens, hourglass 2s, coffins, that type of thing.
Yeah.
There's 2 guaranteed in the Hook Shop. So if you're going to find them anywhere, that's the place, which unfortunately we have not seen any sign of the hook yet. Also, one thing to point out for JBrun's fight here that is different than Jeebus's fight, JBrun is going in with Kane as his anchor. So that is fast anchor versus one of the fastest spots in the game, instead of having that Rydia in the middle slot. That's going to give this Mylon Z a ton more actions, and it's going, even though it doesn't have a lot of physical attack, it still has enough physical attack that it could get a little dicey here, even with things like that wizard hat that Porum has on, which is why she's only taking like 28 or 50 damage.
Which still isn't much if you have like 75 damage to begin with. So
right.
Surprise, she's already dead. But now Jeebus has done all the checks, and it looks like he's headed to the moon. So he is definitely going to forego ordeals for now. Which, if that is the only Rosa at that package spot, he could definitely be like of the type to just go full clear moon and then go down and do the Fey March. Because again, those are all single bosses, so you don't have to worry. I have to deal with the Golbez nonsense. I think anybody at this point would probably be like, I just don't want to deal with Golbez, and there's things that will be faster, and I will get a key item check out of it.
It's the racing mentality of at some point you have to decide, what am I willing to lose or win from? And Jeebus is saying, I am willing to lose to Golbez on ordeals because I don't have a paladin, I don't have a Tella, I don't have a reason to go through that slog, all 3 of those fights. There is no boss hunt, so ordeals is naturally disincentivized as far as runners wanting to check it. The character hunt, you're not going to get a character unless it's through a key item. So in Jeebus's mind, and this is something that I appreciate, assuming that I'm thinking the way he is. Ordeals is a dead check unless it directly leads in some way to one of those objectives or Rosa. He can clear a moon spot as fast as he can clear ordeals, if not faster, because Golbez exists.
Oof, and JBrun taken out by that element spot. Yeah, it was so fast. He was trying to just kind of get the last swings out on that Kane and finish the job, but it wasn't enough, and Kane got taken out. So
Yeah,
he's going to have to take another shot here. This is going to be tough. This could really, despite the fact that he's got that Rosa, this could lose him a lot of ground. And we'll see if Jeebus can find a Rosa here. It's a Palom. It's a better black mage than the Rydia that's your floor, but given the party composition, well, I guess you'll probably dump Porum at this point. No, because he still doesn't have Rosa yet. I don't know.
I think Yang is out. Yeah, I don't hate this at all because they essentially exploit the same things. Yang being a punch mage, as everyone loves to affectionately call him, but also he has edge. So all of those claws can still go onto edge. So Yang is the character that makes the most sense to eat in this situation because Palom brings AoE black magic to the table, and Edge can already do what Yang does, in addition to just being overall a more well-rounded character without needing, the whole just add levels thing, if you will. So, I like this move.
Agreed. I think the utility on Edge is magnitudes better, and
yes.
In terms of you don't need a second claw player. If you want somebody that's going to thump with a thunder claw, just throw it right on that edge and you're fine. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously he's still early enough level wise. Oh, what did he find in that shop? Did he get anything tier 7 or whatever the high tier J items?
Tier 5, and no, there were no sirens anyway. I missed if there were coffins or hourglasses. But no sirens. So that means if they're on the seed, they're behind the hook. But Jeebus, I know, is a huge fan of early moon dives or moon dives in general on this flag set. We have talked at length about, wanting to go moon because of the key item distribution. So far, what we know about the seed, both halves of Forge are out. So he needs to find the Forge pieces somewhere, especially since we know he's not looking at that Rosa for a very long time.
I mean, obviously it could be that he finds everything else he needs for go mode, and that Rosa ends up being, it's not a big deal that he doesn't find it, except obviously not having the best white mage in the game. But you never know. But yeah, obviously there's such a huge density of key item checks here. You've got you've got the 6 bosses, you've got 7 chests because of the ribbon, you got 2. So that's a lot of key items in here. We still haven't seen a Mist Dragon either. I'm very curious if that could be anywhere spicy and have something incredibly important.
I mean, honestly, if you're a runner, you really don't want D-Mist to be up on this moon. It just takes forever.
D-Mist, it's such a pain in the neck. And the worst thing is your best weapon anywhere, right, is your Cecil with the Holy Sword. And guess what? Mist is strong against Holy, so Cecil can still if you've got him powered up with a crystal, he'll still do over 1,000. But man, he's just not doing anywhere near the thumping he can do against against other bosses.
Yeah, and JBrun did go ahead and rearrange his party. Does have Rydia in the middle now, so he is going with the traditional anchoring setup now. He's getting a ton more turns in. He's able to, get this Kane zerked and just kind of let him go. Now he does have a defense sword on, based on the purple animation, instead of a spear. So that is slowing things down a little bit, not exploiting that floating weakness, if you will. But he may actually need the defense sword equipped for the extra vitality, so he doesn't just explode. So it's kind of one of those trade-offs where without having those levels that Jeebus did, he may actually need the defensive utility of the defense sword that you don't normally see.
Yeah. So the interesting thing for those who don't know about Mylon Z, the reason that that flying attacks work against him is because he's supposed to be strong against Earth, and so the way the game programmed that to be the case is to make him floating, so that Earth attacks don't actually affect him. But that also means that things that attack flying enemies will destroy him, like bows and arrows and spears, and probably some other stuff that I'm not thinking of. But he definitely has some interesting exploited weaknesses. Despite being an Earth boss, he's floating, so that makes
Yeah.
things really interesting.
Yeah, and speaking of exploiting weaknesses, that Thunderclaw on that edge, going to be doing some work once he's able to get zerked up here. The Octomam is just going to keep getting slower and slower and slower. Octomam, of course, another one of those wholly resistant bosses. Apparently one that just really wants Porum to be on the ground as well, as I believe it has punched Porum 3 or 4 straight times now.
I mean, listen, some people just got a grudge out for Porum. Some people like possible. Anyway, but yeah, though that the Octomam is getting hit fast, and honestly, that's the important part about this fight. But also the Octomam's gonna punch back, and it's not gonna feel great. The thing about Octomam is the more tentacles that are out, the faster he goes. So once you do, I think it's every 3 hits, one of the tentacles disappears, and with that, every single time, Octomam gets slower and slower. Like 3, 2, 1 tentacles. It doesn't matter what speed the place is. Octomam's going real slow, and so you should be able to finish the job. But despite being able to get one shot here, I think you just want the quantity of hits to be coming out fast, and that's coming out fast enough to take this out. Octomam is down to 1 and should be done very quickly.
Yeah, and I like the dart of the lightsaber here as well. Get that extra 3k damage in. There's only so many actions that Edge is going to be able to take when he's not zerked up, so this is a great time to kind of do some supplemental damage. He's doing about 1,000 when he's zerked, maybe a little more, doing 3,000 when darting. So because there's been no sight of Cecil yet, start getting rid of some of those swords. Keep the Excal, of course, but get rid of everything else. And
the only
is through Octo.
And the only downside to throwing it then was, again, it's a light sword. It's got it's got holy element, right? So that isn't that going to lower the? Oh gosh, a Bahamut too here.
It does not actually. So darting only takes into account Edge's levels plus some random multiplier plus the attack of the weapon itself. It does not take properties into account. So the light sword does normal damage even against a wholly resistant enemy.
Snap! That's really interesting. I totally did not know that. So that's good. That was a really smart move, obviously. Then it's very cool.
And JBrun also got his darkness crystals, so he's not going to be too far behind Jeebus. All things considered, he's really only an Octomam check behind. Now, of course, he's missing a ton of levels compared to Jeebus, but that's only 1 check behind, and he is 1 objective up. So, the race is still on. This is by no means over in either direction. Oh, this is gross.
Oh, hi.
Oh.
Bonus round.
This is
also
not
a punchy bonus round.
Yeah, this is not the bonus round you want in your life.
All the spots. This is a gross spot. Jeebus is like, nah. Wow.
So this is where we've seen what, Baigen in the ribbon room and now Demist there as well. So like, who do you even want to dart down? Like those. Okay, so this is where the spoon and the Excal get darted to me, but which one gets it? Because those both stink. They're terrible fights.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think you just do it at the one that's going to be the punchiest or the highest HP, and you just kind of play it like that. Like, I think definitely a ribbon room fight is gonna, you're gonna want to be doing as much damage to something. That quad 9s is gonna make that a lot less of an annoying fight, because ribbon room has a lot of HP and it's fast and it's generally really awful and gross in every way.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's find out what's at the Crystal Sword altar. We'll get some new information. This is going to be. This is definitely more manageable. Yet another fight where that Thunderclaw is going to pay dividends.
I think the Thunderclaw is going to make. I mean, this is already generally a mostly free fight most places, other than being kind of long and annoying because it's stock dialogue, and he's got to, spend a couple of turns pontificating and then throw down an annoying spell to poison everybody and make everything look all like weird and blocky on your screen just because he likes to be annoying. But it's an easy fight, and that Thunderclaw is going to make mincemeat of that whole fight. I
for one quite enjoy Poison Walk. Thank you very much.
I can deal with it as long as the audio's off. I have to turn off the audio, or I'm sorry, the visual. That's right.
That's very
visual
fair.
effects off, and like that way, at least I'm not like going blind trying to deal with it. I can deal with the or whatever when you walk. That's not that big a deal.
All right, and so it looks like JBrun is getting his Palom as well. Meanwhile, Jeebus is taking a punch for 1,868 damage. Palom does not have that much health, so he died.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, no, this is still Crystal. This is still Crystal Altar spot, and even if this is a free fight, you got a front row Palom with obviously not very many levels, probably very low armor. Yeah, no, you're not gonna survive.
Yeah, this is another one of those classic examples of in the vanilla game, Wyvern was here. Wyvern never punches, so naturally, the attack power is absolutely ridiculous here, because rubber bands, duct tape, and a couple of questionable programming decisions.
Exactly. Like they never needed to worry about the attack being sky high off the roof here because you never see it. So then you throw some randomizer in and you find out what is all this under the surface. This is going to be real actually kind of nasty here.
And JBrun dipping out of the moon, I wonder if this is a play for Sirens, if he's going to head straight underground, steal some Sirens, and then do a bit of a grind to get prepped for this moon.
I don't hate it. Like, he definitely needs the power. Like, he's definitely just getting kind of throttled by everything he finds. He just found that Palom. He's got a low-level Rosa. Like, he's got, as far as he can tell, a perfect endgame party. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to have that edge, but whatever. Like, he's got enough.
Oh, he doesn't have the edge yet. That's right.
Yeah.
He has
That's right.
He can't dwarf.
Yeah, dirt. Right. He can't steal Sirens because he doesn't have the Siren Stealer. So.
Yeah.
But he can do his only Siren, which is still important.
Yes. Just probably wants to make sure that Rydia is offed first so that he can retain his agility setup, and he does do that. So now this Dragoon Spear King should, in theory, be able to take out this egg without too much resistance.
Yeah, Pancras bringing up a good point in chat. There's still a couple of pretty spicy checks and not tremendously awful checks that as long as he gets a couple of levels he can do here. So it wouldn't be surprising if he does a quick dwarf check, top a tower check, before he heads back to the moon. Maybe even does those dark imps if he's like got a decent enough party set up that he can do it. If he can get that size off in time for example.
Meanwhile, somehow Dr. Luge managed to land the gas attack on both of the Zerkers. For Jeebus. That is incredibly unlucky from a time consumption standpoint. That's very uncommon.
This boss is still very unlikely to kill you because there's the two different beams. There's the beam and the laser, right? The beam does 10% of your HP, and the laser, I don't know, does a lot.
The laser does 25% of Dr. Luge's current remaining HP. So it's kind of it functions in the same way as the wave attack from Kainatsu, but it's a much higher percentage, only single target though.
Right, exactly. So you can even dealing with that, you can survive. Here we go. Crystal Altar has a different sword, the Legend Sword, so that is half of Forge. That's another halfway to an objective completion that Jeebus has. He's waiting on a few right now. He's needs a harp for one more, he needs a hook for one more, needs an adamant rock for one more. But yeah, he's clearly in the hunt for the key items and needs to blow through as much of that as he can, see what he can find.
Yeah, while he's in that hunt for those key items, and that's great and all, the issue still is there's a Baigen at the Ribbon Room and there's a Demist at the Ogopogo spot. And he's not going to want to leave this moon until he's done with both. And we could be here for a while. Even for someone of Jeebus's caliber, these fights are not free. He does not have power overwhelming. I know he is a phenomenal runner at this game. We all know that. But these are not easy fights. Noping out of them the first time around is expected for anyone. That's how hard these fights are.
Yeah, totally. But now the question is, okay, what kind of spicy strats does he have under his hat here? Because I wouldn't be surprised he changed battle speed around, changes the order of stuff, kind of equips everybody up, tries to really set himself up for this fight that he might be able to find a way through it. He's definitely, obviously, both of these runners are definitely capable of it. But I think that I'm very curious to see like what route he takes, because he definitely seems pretty committed to staying here. So he's gonna have to play a couple tricks to get through this fight. But he's definitely good enough to show off.
Yeah, and the way he's got his party constructed right now, leading with Palom, This screams I am going after Baigen, because otherwise you'd want to lead with Porum.
What do you want to do then? Lead with Quake?
Yeah, you're going to be leading with Quake in this fight. I'm hoping he's got enough multipliers on that kid so that Quake actually one-shots the arms, because these arms have a lot of HP here.
That's really the key. Yeah, those arms. The unfortunate thing is they regenerate fast, but you just got to keep keeping them down. Ooh, and that's not enough to take out. So that hurts.
This is where it might behoove him actually to go into the fight and bluff once, in order to get the Quakes strong enough so that he can one-shot the arms with them. But it's tough to say, because if you bluff, you're not taking the arms down, and then they're getting 3 punches off. It's a messy, sloppy situation. It's a really hard fight.
I mean, look at the first wave. He's already gone through it. He gets to pal him a second time and use Life Potion instead of Quake, and those arms come back as he does it. Like, he just has no time, and it's like each round, like, is he whittling you down? And that edge was down. He definitely was worse off after the second time, the time that the arms came back. So, like, you really have to hold up your own, and with all those physical attacks coming out, it's tremendously hard.
Yeah, and we have while Jeebus is going through Baigen, or vice versa, as they seem to be trading blows right now. Evil Wall and Kane are trading blows, and boy, this wall is a moving.
The heck? Kane's just standing there like, I guess I'm just taking an apple. This wall just like climbs all over me. What is going on here? Holy wow!
Gets the jump off, while Evil Wall is just ripping through itself.
Three in the jump, amazing, and he kills himself. Done. I'm sorry, I'm rephrasing.
Well played, JBrun. Well played.
Bye. Wow, that was something else.
I'm gonna call that unintentional swag, but it was a wonderful sight to see.
Super swag, but yeah, totally unintentional. Yeah, that evil wall is a cheater.
Yes.
Not taking actions, it just actions. So every time you do anything, it does a thing. And in fact, if you're thinking about a thing in a menu, it's doing a thing.
Oh yeah, Evil Wall does not care about your ATB system. Evil Wall has its own system.
It basically
punch and move and punch and move and punch and move and crush.
Yeah, it basically acts like a character that starts Zerked. Is basically what it acts like. It doesn't have to worry about pulling up a menu to do actions. So that's why it's such a pain in the neck to take on.
Yeah, this is where things are going to start to get a little scary for Jeebus. Is his Blink Caster is on the ground now. The Zerkers are going yes, but the arms are about to come back up. This could get a little messy.
Yeah, it's going to be close. He's got to... thankfully his Zerk characters are at least hitting the arms a little bit. You definitely want to at least knock one of the arms off and, try and keep yourself from getting just completely throttled.
Yeah, I think...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he only has one blink left on Edge.
Right, yeah, he got hit once.
Yeah, and there's no more blinks at this point, so he needs to get through this on this cycle, maybe the next one. There's the Quack Kid. Yeah,
that's a Zerk. Yeah. Well, now the worry is you got both arms gone. You got to take them out quick, because if those arms come back, it's basically reset. Because if you take out Baigen and the arms are still up, then the blow up's going to kill both of them. So I feel like at this point it's almost a reset. Because unless he gets a couple of good lucky arm shots first, and these are actually pretty good, you really got to worry about the arms here.
Yeah, one of two things happens at this point. Either he wins the fight or he loses the fight.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Poindexter, right? But but the thing about it is you take out Baigen in the middle. Those arms are on a timer, and they will explode. And I think they do their current HP damage to you, or maybe even more than that. To your character, and so you can't have them blow up at full HP when you have two characters. And obviously Jeebus had to reset here, unfortunately. This is a fight where you're just gonna have to slog over and over if you're in Jeebus's position and not gaining more levels and not trying something else. So hopefully he doesn't bang his head against this too much, because if he does, that's going to, at least a disadvantage, unfortunately for him, but that's going to give JBrun a chance to come back a little bit here too. And he is actually, speaking of JBrun, he is taking on the Dark Imps fight, which, as we were talking about, is going to have, there's some utility to take them out relatively easily if you can get a size off, or if you can stop them in some way.
Toad as well.
Toad, there you go.
One major development though, JBrun opted not to take that edge.
Huh. Interesting.
He opted to go the route, to go edgeless, which is an interesting choice given that sirens were not available. That we haven't seen. Have we seen Bacchus even?
No. There is Bacchus. I think maybe that's maybe it comes with a starting kit. I know I've seen Bacchus in someone's inventory, but I don't think any places sold them.
It's interesting because personally I'm much more on the edge train here rather than the Yang train.
Same. Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely want to ask him about. Maybe he's not a fan of edge, which we all have characters we like and don't like as much. And a lot of people love the fact that Yang just has all the health in the world, and you really don't have to babysit him whatsoever.
Yeah, once he gets to like 30 plus, basically, he's just like exponential growth on that health, and he's like, he'll go to Z at like level 50 with I don't even know, 4,000 HP. Like the HP he gets is astronomical. But on the downside, he doesn't have nearly the utility that Edge has. He only has, the only J skill he has is power, which is useful. But he doesn't have magic that like can hit multiple targets. He can't steal sirens or other things. He can't throw weapons for extra damage. So yeah, I mean, I would personally think that in this case, Edge would be better. And and Edge can wear some armor and stuff too. Like there's definitely a lot of use for him. But everybody has their preferences, obviously.
Yeah, and it is also brought up in chat that there is the potential of Yang maybe being used as a wall wearer or caster, if you will, for a Zeromus fighter reflect party. Now there's a spicy meatball.
Ooh, yeah, Earth Crystal. So at this late a game, JBrun might not check that treasury. I don't know if we'll get to raid it, but he definitely gets another couple bosses. Well, he doesn't know obviously that there's a mist dragon on the moon, so that's 2 boss checks for him and 2 character checks and the key item. So that's a good thing to find. He could find something again, Earth Crystal, like all the stuff that's through that. It might be a long time before jeebus finds that. So if JBrun follows that to its conclusion, that could give him something that jeebus might not find for a long time.
Yeah, like the worst possible thing for jeebus here, other than of course how rude these moon fights are.
My gosh, yeah, just getting thumped again. Yeah, the reset time.
Bigen, please relax. The worst possible thing for jeebus here would be if Zot has half of the forge or has the hook.
Yeah, right.
Because that means that this moon dive, while yes, he will get his levels and he'll eventually get through all this, it means that the moon itself is not going to have all the pieces to go mode. And with this play and with the time investment, that's something that has to be weighing on jeebus's mind. Now, we already know that, the package is on our deals. We already know that there's a Rosa there. Again, this is so hard to speculate who's winning, who's losing, who's where. Our runners could finish seconds apart, or they could finish 20 minutes apart. I have absolutely no idea how this one's going to turn out because of the divergence and of the information we don't know yet.
Exactly. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot of key items still on the table. There's a lot of key items that gate other key items. We don't have a Baron key. We just got the Zot. We just got Zot. Tower key's not there. Even Harp could have something. Oh, and it looks like we are getting a chance to raid the treasury.
I'm surprised to see it, but I like it. Man of the people, JBrun.
Crystal Ring is a nice first item out of that.
Inventory boss 3
Oh no.
Not great.
Yeah, you don't want to fight an inventory boss here, because unless you just like do a full clear in one shot, this is going to take forever just to loot, and it does not feel good.
He does have a number of things in here though that are not exactly great.
Interesting. So he has that ninja shirt and he has that full moon, and he did not get rid of them. I don't know if he's planning on selling them, but he didn't take that edge. Well, he's finding a lot of things that have the word crystal on them, and none of them are swords.
Well, they can't be.
two. Right. That's right. Exactly. 2 rings and an armor. That is not super bad. and a lot more swords that he doesn't need. A couple of life staffs. The crystal rings are really what sell that. The crystal rings are maybe the best defense item in the game for at least a lot of things. Like they can stop a lot of, insta kill attacks from things. The magic defense is off the charts, and physical, honestly, but magic especially. So having two of those is going to make a lot harder characters to have to deal with some of these nonsense bosses on the moon.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to bring up, is those crystal rings in particular. Those are phenomenal for taking hits from Baigen, from D-Mist, etc. I am surprised after that to see JBrun going for more boxes. I would have thought that he would have been done looting at that point, but might be looking for pay dirt from the Flame Dog chest.
Yeah, I wonder, he must be feeling a little rough around the edges here. Obviously, he's kind of dealing with some tough stuff, and he's been trying to get his character some more levels and such. But this is still, I don't know. At this point, I feel like this is pretty late on to be looting stuff.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have Jeebus fully blinked up. Looks like he's going to be able to get through this D-Mist, though the ultimate question is at what cost? We have seen a number of darts already, so he has made his decision that the dartable boss is going to be D-Mist, and he may or may not come back for that Baigen.
I mean, honestly, it may come down to, does that D-Mist have pay dirt? If D-Mist doesn't have pay dirt, maybe you just reset. I mean, I don't know. The XP and levels are going to be nice, but if you lose all of the items that you're using to kind of make things a little bit easier, maybe you want to save them for another boss like that Baigen. But yeah,
definitely a good point that, those darts, if they don't work on this D-Mist, or, maybe you even save scum this afterwards, to your point. And just fully reset if the D-Mist check itself on Earth doesn't give anything.
Oh, that's a good point, right? There's a double check, of course, yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Like, this is not a fun situation to be in. Without having hourglasses, without having sirens, it's hard to really manipulate the encounters in the right way to get the XP to facilitate easy fights here. Does look like Jeebus is now opting to berserk up. Going to eat some cold mists, but not too bad. That was very well timed to only have a single cold mist on that Zerk. But I did not catch, does he have a silver staff to remove the berserk?
I didn't see anything like that. It could be he's just hoping that this is enough at the end, just to kind of plow through the end of it, just like, power hit mist and have enough to take it out. But yeah, obviously, if that doesn't happen, the D-Mist wait time is going to be astronomical, because you're going to have to sit through every single one of those attacks and counters when Mist is in Mist mode, and that's like, maybe that could take like a minute and a half with all of those attacks. It's going to be a while. And it doesn't matter, Mist is gone.
Yeah, he's through. Very nicely done, Jeebus. And JBrun also threw Leviathan, which is the first boss at the Tower of Zot, and there is a Baron key. So for him, that's a character check, so he has to keep that.
I feel like this is also a good scum opportunity, like right now, because you've got a gate, you've got a thing that can gate some stuff in 2 checks, and you've got Mist, and you've got potential character check. Like, it might behoove you to just like storm down there and take care of those things really quickly. There's obviously good reason to stay up here and kind of try and finish the job as much as you can, but those are definitely things he absolutely wants to keep. So he is not going to be getting those spicy items back to be able to use against Baigen. He's going to have to deal with that in a much more painful way.
Yeah, it's wow, a second shot at Edge, and JBrun still says no. Also says no to a Sid. That's not as surprising, but 2 shots at Edge and no dice.
Especially with all the Hanzo steel, it's pretty, But hey, I mean, you got characters that got, Yang has HP, like he's already strong enough to take some hits. Maybe you don't want to get rid of him because he's already got 1,700 hit points.
Yeah, that's definitely true. 1,700 hit points, though that is like a siren for Yang.
True.
So, for most characters, that's a huge investment, but for Yang, it's just another day. While Mylon and friends are being quaked up in the Tower of Zot, Jeebus is going back for another dance with the devil, and the devil in this case being Baigen. So Let's see if Baigen adds to its runner count, or if Jeebus can add to his Baigen count.
Yeah, by add you mean make it not 0.
Yes,
Increase it,
exactly.
infinitely. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Not looking like he's having great luck though. He seems like every time he brings somebody up, they're getting thumped. I really wonder if, hopefully Jeebus does not like, kind of burn too much of his time here, get like tilted and just try and keep fighting it until it's gone when he's got so many other checks that are going to happen faster.
Yeah, I think with it being the ribbon room, you're looking at 100,000 experience.
And
You
he's
are
one key
looking at, yeah, you're looking at 2 key items. Okay, that's terrible news
Oh,
for Jeebus.
whoa. Okay, there's
Um, that's
hook.
great news for JBrun. That's terrible news for Jeebus. The hook through Zot means that the dimps not necessarily required, but most likely required. Um, oh,
And again,
oh.
he's getting just wrecked over here. Like he cannot do anything to stop getting wrecked, except stop fighting it. Basically,
Yeah, if there's sirens or hourglasses here as well, that's going to be
wow,
huge
yeah,
also.
that's going to blow this game wide open for JBrun. Now, obviously, JBrun does not have the pink tail, so that's one thing that Jeebus does have, and Jeebus again takes another reset. Let's see if he wants to try this one more time, if he's finally going to quit.
Yeah,
And it looks
he is
next.
opting. Yeah,
That honestly, all told, the time he has spent on that ribbon spot fighting has been like 10 minutes. So that's a huge amount of time to waste on getting nothing. And it feels bad for the runner. And I'm sure that he's like, I've spent all this time trying to get things working right. You don't want to run away from that fight. But
yeah,
he did the right thing, I think, here. Like, you definitely want to just, at this point, you want to do the quantity of checks. So it would behoove him to just go back and start blowing up stuff on Earth. And maybe he'll just go back in full clear. Like, there's enough things for him to check on Earth that there's actually more stuff to find there than there is on the moon at this point. And there's Siren and Bacchus, so that's gigantic for JBrun. He can now level himself up, and he's got the ability to Zerk with just an item. That's a gigantic advantage for him.
yeah. He's going through. He's interestingly enough not picking up the Ice Claw, but going to check the hook character. It looks like. So might be wanting like a Fusoya or a Cecil. I wouldn't hate adding either one of them to the team. So I don't mind this hook dive at all, especially pre-grind. Like if you find a Cecil down here with that X-Gal, oh baby, that's pay dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, you still all 10
That's-
characters here,
well,
and there's an Ed. We've got a spoon. Hi.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Bear in mind, if Jeebus comes this way, he does not have his spoon.
Well,
he hurled, didn't he? I think
he did. Now, if I'm in JBrun's shoes, that's a character I want on my team. That's a spoon word. You have 20 sirens.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got the sirens for it, and you've got those crystal rings. Like
Yeah.
Eddie can actually take some hits. Not a lot. I mean, he's still only gonna have like 1200 HP at like realistic levels, but he's gonna be doing so much damage with that spoon. You throw a Zerk on him, you throw a Bacchus because he's a Bacchus wines. Everything's gonna become super free on that moon, and he's gonna check the rat tail now. He does not have that pink tail yet. That was at the top of Keyless Tower, which Jeebus did, and JBrun has not. So that's one mild advantage that Jeebus does have. And an Avenger is what JBrun gets for his troubles. Maybe not the item he's looking for, but not a terrible item for a Kane to have right now either.
Yeah, Avenger is huge. That is Avenger is probably, outside of the aforementioned spoon and like a crystal sword or an X-Gal, Avenger is probably the best weapon in the game. The auto-inflicting of Berserk is huge. Looks like JBrun is headed moonward, though, going to leave Keyless Tower on the table.
One thing I find interesting, Jeebus is going in to do Baron right now. I don't think he has checked that Mist Dragon yet.
Well, it makes sense because he wants to look at the character check.
He needs this more.
Yeah, he doesn't have Rosa.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, since he does still not have that information, that Rosa, that Ordeals check. Now maybe the fact that he is back here on the planet, he will decide, I'm actually just going to full clear the whole place. He does ordeals then. If he does that, this is a different seed. But
Yeah.
until that moment, JBrun has a lot of advantage here. He's taking those sirens up to the moon, where I'm guessing maybe he'll be doing some warlock grinds or some gold dragon grinds, whatever it is. He's going to be gaining XP fast. He does not have 10 key items, so not that fast.
Warlock grind makes a lot of sense. But yeah, with the 9 key items, it's a little surprising that he wouldn't peak Keyless Tower before doing this. Because if you get a 10th key item there, now your grind is just good to go. There's our second dupe. That's another Yang. So we know that we have a dupe Yang. We know that we have a dupe Edge, which means that there's only one dupe left. So that package Rosa is probably at this point the mathematically odds-on favorite to be the only Rosa in the seed.
You said it with math. Oh, I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know you're a math guy.
I'm a math guy. My life, yes. More math. Deal with it, everyone. Deal with it. But yeah, no, the odds are super low. I mean, it's like, one left. So it could be any one of the 10 available. It could even be the one, you could have a third Yang, for example. But odds are one Rosa, and that's it. So if Jeebus doesn't do ordeals, he probably doesn't get that. He does get a Sand Ruby, though. I don't think we've seen Sand Ruby check. I don't think anybody's been to Kaipo. So there's maybe a chance that that'll be something that's good for him. I mean, it could also be a Fu, which wouldn't hurt.
Or, it could be a dupe Edward, because Asuka.
Absolutely. And he is checking Rydia's mom now, so he's getting that Mist Dragon check out of the way. We'll see how useful that is. And JBrun is about to take on that gross Baiken and nope his way out of it, most likely in a couple seconds.
Oh, White Spear from D-Mist. So that is that's ouch. That's a lot of ouch.
Yes, ouch. That's the least thing you want in the whole world at this point, basically. That hurts. So yeah, everything he's come down here for to check so far has not, at least so far, been what he's looking for. That said, he has 10 key items, so he can double XP on anything he does from here on.
Well, it's not a Rosa.
It's not who you need, but it's who you want.
Yeah. Do you pivot to reflect strats now? Is a legitimate question.
That's not a terrible, I don't.
And if so, who's out?
I mean, Porum's out. Yeah, you could reflect strat Porum eventually, but man, it's gonna take a hot minute. Now you've got a Fu, and you're honestly I'm guessing Fu's just gonna basically be the white mage. But Jeebus is looking at this and going, what's gonna get beat up real bad now with a couple of Quake casters and some nuke and stuff is a Baiken. So I think he's not terribly unhappy about having a little more firepower when he goes back up to that moon. Whether or not he goes now or not is the question.
I think you go and you do the Baron Basement first because you're here, which is what he's doing now. And then I think you consider Feymarch.
I don't hate that, right?
You have Fusoya, who can single-handedly take out the Dark Imps really quickly, and you have the Rune Axe, and you have the tools to deal with the Gauntlet now as well. You also think, well, what about, if my opponent did a grind, got up to the moon, and all the value in the world was behind that Baiken, would they be done already? Have I already lost if the value's behind Baiken at this point? Like, those are all the things you have to weigh through. So,
and he might be thinking the same kind of thing with things like ordeals. Like,
yeah.
I haven't yet. I'm sure he knows it's there and hasn't bothered. Oh, and here's an Ashura. That's very interesting. Like you were mentioning, Kayn does have that Rune Axe. So here's another mage type. Kayn could be doing some serious work.
Yeah, Kayn is going to absolutely clatter Asura here.
It's gotta be hilarious.
This is going to be violent. And good tech by putting the wall up on Asura to make sure that she is unable to have any sort of countering. Basically, any sort of curing. Excuse me. She's still going to counter physically, but Kayn is going to chew through this. And the nice part about the rune rings, which we haven't talked a lot about, or the starter kits, because Neki is on, no one starts with any gear except a random weapon. Basically, that's tier 1 through 3, I think. But you get a bunch of rune rings. Rune rings inherently give mage resist. Asura's a mage. So Kayn's going to be dealing tons of damage, and even if Palom gets hit there, it's only 1 damage. So Asura normally super scary. The dwarf starter kit kind of makes Asura a joke.
Really does. Those rune rings are helpful for not just for defense, but also like they give wisdom and willpower boost. And also you get 10 of them, and you can probably sell like 6 or 7 of them, without worried about it. So that gives a little bit of cash boost as well. And look at that. That Ashura is down to the count immediately.
Yeah, doesn't take long when you're dealing 7k a hit. And okay, there's Forge.
Okay, there's Forge. So that puts Jeebus back in this game a little bit, because that's something that JBrun's not going to get unless he does moons, like full Moon basically. Like he's going to need that. Gosh, what was it? It was the mist. It was behind Mist that the Baron was, right? Yeah. So he needs to do that.
Yes.
He needs to do that Mist Ogopogo spot and Crystal to get the Crystal Altar to get both pieces of Forge. And he does not have either of them. So that's one huge advantage. And Jeebus also, again, has the pink tail. If Jeebus finds the hook now, if he does the Rosa check, if he stays on Earth, he will get go mode. It's just he has to do everything.
Yeah, this is the type of seed where we have Fey March with a pseudo required item. We have the Moon that's hard required. We have Keyless Tower, that was a possible play. We have Ordeals with absolutely no incentivization to go there at all, because you don't have a Tello or a Cecil. The distributions of key items on this is very, very hard from a runner's perspective as to how you want to attack it, because it's very much so out of logic as far as where your progression would be. So it's a very interesting layout, something that, I'm very happy to see it and not having to be running it, because I would be a mess on this seed. Because there's a lot of reasons not to do things instead of a lot of reasons to do things.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. One of the things that's interesting, like there's still a lot of, there's at least a couple kind of key item rabbit holes that have not been explored, which has kind of limited the length of rabbit holes that anyone's had to really go down. It's usually only like 1 or 2 steps long in this seed. So no one's getting like stuck in this like bamboozled chase for one thing that's going to take them 45 minutes. But the fact that there's so much wide open and there's so many things splayed out everywhere, like we know there's key items all over the place that are necessary, like they're literally everywhere. It makes this so hard to route and so difficult to gauge who's going to win, because there's so much left for everyone to check, and we still don't know where everything is. We do not know where that the harp is. I think is that the one item that we don't have known yet for the actual objectives.
Yeah, we do not have any eyes on the harp, so it's either going to be at Value Cave, it's either going to be behind Baigan, behind this plague, or I guess could still be behind like the tower key as well. I think those are the options we have left. And D-Mist saying hello to JBrun, and most likely soon goodbye to JBrun.
Yeah, D-Mist more like D-Hit, I think. There's no missing. Sorry, it's a little George Carlin-ish humor there.
George is an all-time favorite of mine.
Oh, absolutely. He's the best. So yeah, right now, I think the thing that's keeping JBrun from maybe being very slightly in the lead is the fact that he has not done top of tower. If he had done top of tower and has that pink tail and has that one extra objective, like he's in the driver's seat. But I think right now it's still too nebulous to know.
Yeah, I would actually think that that Jeebus is in the lead now, mainly because he has a couple more levels, and more importantly, Fusoya, the banned man from Zima Zone 3. Well, now Jeebus is definitely in the lead.
Oh wow! Okay, hi. Yes.
So,
we're in no mode of everything, so we know that literally everything else on the moon is haunted, and that Jeebus needs to get the blankety blank out of here and go do music. And we are going to get some music value, friends. I was worried that last thing we didn't have. I was worried, like, are we just not going to get music this season? But nope, it's coming back. It's getting us. We're getting the tunes.
Yeah. So Jeebus opting to leave and just kind of letting Baigan do his thing.
Baigan's be Baigan's.
Yeah. JBrun doing a little bit of a 9-key item grind. I don't hate it, because I think he has seen both Baigan and D-Mist. So yeah, this hurts to have to do it, but it's probably the right move because this is still going to be 90,000 experience with these life glitches, assuming he can make it through with all of his party members alive.
I mean, the advantage he gets from having those sirens because he got that hook because he went down there and checked that out, whereas Jeebus doesn't have that, is somewhat stifled by the fact that he does not have the 10 key items yet. So he's not going to be able to grind that much faster than what Jeebus already has. And
Right.
Jeebus already has enough levels to kind of be able to do anything he needs to right now. He can clear everything on Earth that we know he's going to need to do potentially to get go mode. And he only needs one objective. All he needs is a hook or Rosa. That's
Yeah.
it. So he either does ordeals or he does hook was at what, Dark Imps?
Yeah, Hook was from Zot through Dark Imps.
Zot through Dark Imps. That's right. Okay, so that was the one. Yeah, that's the one rabbit hole that could be a little bit spicy. But and then of that point, I guess at that point, Jeebus would probably, well, unless he has, if he doesn't have the Rosa, he would check that Zot. So that might be the most likely place he would go first before he ever does ordeals. He would just probably skip it completely.
Yeah, I think at this point, and this was the decision that, again, I assume this is what Jeebus's mindset was. If it's ordeals, I'm fine with losing to it. I think that you have to pick something every race, and you have to just say, I'm going to lose. If I lose to this, fine, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, and just the fact that it was such a time sink to have to deal with that nonsense. That was absolutely the what is it, the low hanging fruit there in terms of skipping something. And so
right.
It very, very sensitive why he didn't. And obviously it could potentially bite him in the butt because we know what's there. But now that he's got that music, and we're going to be wait a minute, has music not started yet?
No, not yet. We're still in the pre-fight phase. Fusoya was trying to make it quicker. Jeebus did a really good piece of tech on this. He tried to stone his entire party, but Fusoya missed.
Gotcha. I was curious. So all of a sudden I was like, did I just miss music? And it's a Dark Elf fight?
No.
But speaking of music, we're about to hear the stylings of DJ Spoonie B. And
enjoy.
By the way, enjoy. Done and done. And that was, for those who are not seeing chat, that was Black Mage Village from Final Fantasy IX. A fantastic song. I love the Final Fantasy IX soundtrack. It's super good. And with that, one more objective in Jeebus's belt. Actually, just the second one, and he gets a pass, so he never has to go back to that moon at all if he doesn't want to. It's 100,000% haunted from here on out.
Yeah, it's hard required and haunted at the same time.
It's funny. But no, he's pilfered everything there is to take. So hopefully he does not go, I need to get revenge on that Baigen, because that's going to be a pretty good waste of time.
But yeah, I think this is probably a Feymarch beeline at this point. JBrun going through now, getting his Legend Sword. Does have that Rosa, which certainly is going to make things easier. Rosa will survive a hit from Baigen. Especially with those crystal rings also. He's actually much more set up for it. So it'll be curious to see, where he decides to go from here. I think Baigen is something he's going to take on.
I think you look at that 2 key item after the
Oh
buy-in.
my.
That's where you got it. Where you got to go. You got to get those checks. And honestly, he could end up with a tower key and going down other rabbit holes.
Well,
So it's not.
speaking of rabbit holes, Mr. Ground Flyer, I think someone is possibly going back for a vengeance. They might be taking a side trip to Value Cave here, but that Baigen rabbit hole might be burning deep into Jeebus right
Wow,
now.
yeah, this is a tilt last all seed. We're gonna have to ask him about his white whale here because this ain't going well for him. I mean, he was right, it's still item checks, but I feel like this is the other thing that he should just give up on and be like, listen, if I'm gonna skip a thing and it's gonna ruin my seed, it's this Baigen here. Yeah, unfortunately, he left all of the places with all the key items that are gonna win him, and he's gonna have that Mom Bomb at Cape Bahamut. That's a fast, punchy spot, but I mean, he's got enough punchy to punch back, and I don't think it's gonna be a real problem. Nothing's gonna really be a problem for him at this point. But it's more time. It's a lot of time, and he does not have a lot of time to work with.
Yeah, this is a sketchy fight. I don't know what he's going to go in at battle speed wise. Also, JBrun having a whale of a time of his own with this King Ryu. It decided to wipe out his entire party, other than Kane,
who's stunned,
but paralyzed Kane. So yeah, this is a fun time.
I mean, I'd almost be tempted to reset here. I'm wondering if JBrun has done did he do another Siren and not save it? Like, he'll lose multiple fights if he has to reset it.
Did he save after Dr. Luge before taking this fight?
Oh, heck. I don't. Yeah, good question. I have not seen the last time. I don't know if he saved in between. But anyway, he got it done. Kane is the only one who got the levels, but at least he survived because that could be real. Otherwise, yikes. Super yikes. But hey, Kane's going to be powerful.
Oh, yes. Kane has all the beef.
Exactly. Where's the beef, Kane?
Yes. Kane, the character who I personally think is wonderfully average on this flag set, but with enough levels, as is the case with most characters, they become pretty good with enough levels.
I think Kane is really, really solid early game as long as you get him a decent weapon, because he starts back row with that Dwarf Axe, which takes away his disadvantage. And then late game, I think he's really good. Beyond that, it's I think there's other better DPS if you can get him. But I think that he does have a lot of early and late game potential because of what he can do and because of that Dwarf Axe. That Dwarf Axe really changes the game on him. But you're right. If you could choose between Kane or Cecil and Edge, you definitely not choose Kane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a fan of the characters with a ton of utility. Kane to me does things that other people do, but less well. And so he's a perfectly suitable melee attacker, but not usually the one you want at the end of the game. But in this case, it's fine. He does definitely want this Rosa to get some levels. Also, Mom Bomb, goodbye. And the worst part about that reward is you can't even dart a crystal sword.
It's Garbo. It's totally useless. Totally useless on this, unless for some weird reason he ends up with a Cecil, and obviously we have not seen one of those yet. So, yeah, more holy weapons that are just gonna kind of sit in your inventory, or you just sell them for cash. Not what he's looking for. And we obviously know that of the remaining, well, I guess only Baigen is the only one left, right? So we know that that's not going to give him anything. I really wish, I don't know if he did. I hope he saved on Earth before doing these checks so he can just kind of scream his way back to the planet when he's done, because otherwise it's just an extra couple of minutes trying to get his way all the way back after fighting Baigen and getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, Jeebus has an axe to grind, though.
He certainly does. And now the real question is, like, does this tilt end up, or whatever you want to call it, end up costing him the race? Because it absolutely could, depending on what he does.
It's interesting because, yes, JBrun has, I believe he has half the forge, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we need the Legend Sword, if I remember right, updated on JBrun's tracker.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got half a forge. He's got the Rosa. He doesn't have the Twin Harp. Jeebus is ahead on checks, but are they the right checks? The other thing is, where is the tower key? If the tower key is behind that Baigen, that's going to drive JBrun to do the tower to get the pink tail. So again, like this race is still not over by any means. Um, this is still going to be a fantastic finish.
I think the advantage Jeebus has by even making these mistakes, and the reason he's getting away with it is because JBrun2 is in the wrong place. If either one of them, like, being on Earth is where you want to be right now, and neither of them are there, so it's not really like a massive disadvantage for the other one. It's the only reason why Jeebus is not running away with this, or JBrun.
Excuse me, my apologies. The best part about this is, or the worst part for JBrun, is we are getting to see the paralysis effects from these gold dragons over and over. They are landing their entangles like nobody's business on JBrun.
Debuffs are nasty. Yeah, you don't even really. I mean, I feel like I just don't even remember what kind of buffs and debuffs these folks do, because so often I come here, I have hourglasses, and I'm throwing down anything a King Ryu does. But yeah, look at that. I mean, they take out the physical DPS. You're zerked, then you're stuck. Like, you can't do anything. You just lost all your power, and then you're just stuck getting thumped for a lot of damage, because King Ryus do some pretty solid damage.
Yeah, the King Ryus also are one of the few enemies in the game with an actual defensive stat. So like they don't take they take basically like 0 damage from a lot of baseline physical attacks. So you have to go after them in a very particular manner. You don't usually want to just go heads up with them with like stops, for example, which is what JBrun is having to do here.
Yeah, he's having to go some deep strats on tough bosses here. It's tough. I feel like both of these runners have definitely come into it where they're needing to fight. And they just have some massive disadvantage, despite the fact that JBrun actually has pretty good HP on his party right now. Like, his Rose is 2,200 hit points. That's a lot. That's real good. Honestly, I think he's probably almost done grinding, if I were to be honest, unless he's trying to get that Palama nuke, in which case then he's got some time.
I think JBrun at this point probably feels like if the answers were easy, then Jeebus would have been done by now. And I think that's also what Jeebus is probably thinking, and why he came back to the moon. Is they're probably meta gaming off of each other right now, both thinking, hey, I know how good the other runner is, and if they're not done yet, given the speed at which these runners do these seeds, they're both probably thinking if the answer was easy, the other one would be done.
Exactly why you see Jeebus fighting that dorky Baigen again. Probably not actually revenge. Like, he's actually really smart about what he's doing. It's probably because it's such a gross fight. He thinks the only reason it's not done is because JBrun's bumping his head against the same jerk boss, and that I have to finish it to finish the seed.
Yeah, like, this is one where one of the runners is going to win, one is going to lose. Most likely, ties, can happen. But in reality, the seed wins.
Absolutely. Wells came in here and said, "Good luck, FF4 FE," as he is wont to do when it is on, especially on RPG Limit Break. He loves to hang out here, and he definitely made the seed more powerful, as well as perhaps the seed roller and others. But yeah, this has definitely been gross in just kind of peculiar ways. Like, there's some really gross, tough fights that are gating nothing, that everybody thinks is gating everything, and like bouncing back and forth. Like, Jeebus has gone to the moon multiple times, JBrun's gone multiple times. Like, they're just having to run back and forth over and over again, and they're not finding the solutions that they need. So yeah, they both feel behind right now, no question.
And that was 240k. There's nuke. That everything Rosa could want. This is grind done for JBrun, for sure.
He's got the 10 key items, so yeah, that's an actual grind that's worth it. So he's ready. And there's the tower key for Jeebus, so that's the one remaining rabbit hole. And I'm sure that's almost definitely checking it. And it is the last rabbit hole actually. And so it's gonna hold nothing, or like maybe I don't know. Yeah, it can't hold anything. It can't hold a key item.
It's bad news for Jeebus, because it's gonna point JBrun back to the tower, which we know is where the pigtail is.
Right. You're right. Yeah. The flow of the stream is sending Jeebus where he doesn't need to be, and sending JBrun exactly where he needs to be. The question really now is JBrun going to bang his head that badly against this Baigen? Is Jeebus going to be able to check that tower and then move on quickly enough and go to the right places?
Well, this is also where those crystal rings and all of that gear that he got from the treasury, like, that is going to help out JBrun so much here.
Not here, but even in the Z fight, like that's going to be a huge deal, making that a lot easier. Not have to deal with just quite as nasty big bangs thumping your team. Of course, Jeebus has Fu, which is helpful, so he can cure 4 just as well at not having that Rosa, so he at least doesn't have that disadvantage. But yeah, absolutely. Like the I will say the direction that Jeebus is going, he's going to be underground, and what's going to end up happening most likely is that he's going to end up going to Feymarch. And that if he goes to Feymarch, he's going to find Earth Crystal, which he may not do. That's question mark. If he doesn't, then then I think the only thing left for him is Ordeals. And at that point, if he does not do that, if he does not go check out Zot, he's going to Ordeals, and we know those are the 2 places that have the final 2 objectives for him. Yeah. So I think he's still very slightly in the driver's seat, but man, it's not nearly as close as it looks. Although having that pass, definitely going to be a saving grace for him right now.
The pass is a big deal. The fact that he does have the Twin Harp done already is a big deal. And it's this has been a doozy, but this is a good time while we're getting this tower check, and oh hi Dark Elf. And we have this Viking fight going on. Make sure to give Asuka a follow, who is our restreamer and seed roller extraordinaire. Give Alchemy a follow, who is pressing all the buttons and doing a great job of it. Keeping everyone updated in chat. Make sure to follow JBrun and also Jeebus. They are putting on a heck of a show on what is on the more difficult end of the spectrum for these flags. And make sure to also give that Ground Flyer guy a follow.
I guess.
Also talking, he's kind of a good follow too. Streams really well, plays really well, commentates really well. The guy's just great all around.
It's 2 of 3 lies. I'll give you the commentary. I'll give that one, but no. And obviously follow Possum Morpheus. He's an excellent runner and a lot of fun to hang out with. So yeah, definitely, follow everybody. Everybody rocks. But no, thank you to everybody for putting this stuff together. The Restream team rocks. The Racers rock. And obviously, we can't put on the show without them. We can't put on the show without you, folks watching. We can't put on the show without RPG Limit Break. And thank you again for letting us be here and hosting us for you, or hosting us. Yeah, hosting us. Thank you. Words are hard. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for that as well. A lot of thanks to go around. But we're going to see Jeebus bang his head here on that tower key and not find anything, which is good. If there was something left for him to have to go through a rabbit hole, he'd be going there. So we'll see where he steps next.
Yeah, and for JBrun, this is going to be demist. He knows what's there. He already got slaughtered by it once, and vengeance must be had. And for Jeebus, a strength ring was not exactly what he was hoping for. My assumption is, obviously, he follows that tower key because it was his lunar investment, if you will. And now he goes to Feymarch. You're reverse ordering everything at this point. The gauntlet will be taken first, because 100%. Again, you're saying, if it were easy, my opponent would be done.
Not even just easy, or like frustrating or time consuming, right? Like the gauntlet's not going to be tough. At least not now, especially. But like it's gonna take a few minutes because you got to go through 5 battles, right? So that's just annoying, time consuming. That you don't feel like dealing with ever, so you skip it.
Yeah, and the other thing Jeebus has is he said, if at this point also, if it was Ordeals, it's done. If it was that Dark Imps, it's done. There's a lot of reasons why. I get why Jeebus has taken the route he has. Once you pass about the hour 20, hour 30 mark on these, and you're against someone as good as JBrun or Jeebus are, you start to metagame. And
honestly, I feel like $1.10, $1.15, you start shaking a little bit.
That's fair. It's very interesting though, but I fully expect the gauntlet to go first here. Because even if it's the Earth Crystal, well, no, he bails for the Earth Crystal right away. So.
Okay, well, there you go. So he did jump on the imps. That's good.
We know that imps.
But now when he sees what we know is going to lead him to go mode, does he say, ooh, Zot, or does he say, I'm going to do Gauntlet? And he's definitely going to do Gauntlet first. He's not going to leave there, I don't think. Well, he does still need a Rosa, though, so I take that back. Yeah. He's probably going to go. He's going to want to do Zot right away because he's got the 2 character checks here. Yeah, that's right. That's the right way.
Meanwhile, the Dark Imps just casually laughing and punching Fusoya in the face repeatedly. That's the good old have a nice day, try again, come back in about 30 seconds.
Heal up maybe a little more. Yeah. They're punchy. They're not gonna mess around. They may be, normally like 250 hit point enemies, but when they're in a boss spot, they are overpowered.
Yep. And yeah, quad nines from the kid on JBrun's side. Big numbers.
Bluffs are amazing. Bluffs add, what is it? It's 5 wisdom, correct, per bluff.
16.
Wait a minute, Fla? Okay, well, right. So it's like a Stardust Rod plus
Yes.
1 every time,
Yes.
which is kind of bananas. I would say it's the most overpowered J skill in the game.
Oh yeah,
by a
it's
lot.
completely busted how good bluff is, and you can get the stat maxed, so you can have Quakes hitting for 6K,
Totally.
which is ludicrous.
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. This 9750 nuke right there, and that takes out that Mister. So yeah, now Jeebus's path is kind of ironed out for him. He's gonna go and do Zot. He's gonna get go mode, and he's gonna be heading back to check to go hit the bar and then go face Zeromus.
Yeah,
So,
interesting that Jeebus didn't forge while he was already underground though.
that-
That's probably just an in the moment thing where he's like, oh, Zot, 2 characters, let's go get Rosa.
it's like things, do the things I need to check stuff, and just that's a known thing, and just forget about it for a moment. Or he might have forgotten he didn't forge. I mean, that's also possible, but hopefully not.
Well, the funny part is he's coming to Zot hoping for a Rosa. Instead, he's going to find the hook.
I'm sure he'll be okay with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not like, oh, the 2 reset. But no, that's not going to happen. Yeah, this is now looking absolutely like Jeebus is in the driver's seat, because he is just has to finish this path, and that path sends him right where he needs to go. So he doesn't have to worry about him going back to the moon. Whereas JBrun, all other things equal, if he's not going to do that Bahamut, which he absolutely is not, he's not going to find that pass, and he's going to have to finish whatever he does on the planet, fly back to the moon, and make the long walk of shame all the way down to Zeromus. So that time is a lot, just having to go back and forth like that, and the walk. And yeah, so Jeebus already is kind of ahead too, but on top of that, there's a few minutes of just walking time that he's got as an advantage.
Yeah, Jeebus does not have power overwhelming though,
Right.
like JBrun does. So it's this is not a guaranteed Z fight at those levels. It's a highly likely Z fight, but it's not guaranteed.
True. So yeah, you still gotta play your cards right. Thankfully, Jeebus is a card shark, so to speak. So he'll be playing them pretty well.
For sure.
Maga Sister's HP is just kind of bonkers, because you crunch it all into one boss, and the 3 of them together it's not 5 figures, but is it something like 8,000? It's
like
enough.
8,700, somewhere around there. It's right around the Dwarf Castle 1.
Yeah, so you saw Fu throw down a nuke on the Leviathan, and did not take it out in a nuke shot. It was like 7,000 damage or whatever. So that's just how many HP. It's just that can be really stifling. Like, finding a Keinazo there, if you're lower powered, is a nightmare.
But yeah, it looks like Jeebus about to get the bad news and probably wondering, oh no,
What
have I done?
He's like, how can it be ordeals? It has to be what? I mean, he still hasn't done, obviously, the Leviathan spot, but I'm sure he's thinking now, like, of all the things left, what in the crud is going on?
Well, I mean, it's also possible, like, the hook has the character, but maybe now he's thinking my opponent also faded the same thing.
Right.
This is just kind of the funny thing about the 1v1 races in general, is that in a community race, you never see this happen. You might get one runner who does it, but in a 1v1, you have both runners kind of bouncing things off of each other, like who doesn't want. What it looks like is who doesn't want to win more, when in reality, they're both trying to win as best as possible. It's very funny how it all comes together in a 1v1 format.
Yeah, I mean, they're both playing like a chess game against one another, so they're
Right.
having to alter tactics based on what they. I mean, but it's blind chess. You don't know where
Right.
the other pieces are on the other side of the board, so you have to do it a little blind. But all of that takes, you know, thoughts as to like where things could be. You know, even if you're not metaing the individual racer, you're metaing like the logic that racers would normally have at a certain point in time and what they might skip. Usually, like there's so many things to factor in. That it can totally change the course of a race. Like you're not just going to necessarily plod through things at the fastest speed to get something. You're going to take a little, spicier route because you think that that's the thing that's missing from the other runner. There's all
Right.
sorts of it's going to direct you all over the place. Honestly, like when they come in for an interview, I'm going to want to I want to know a little bit about that meta. Like what were they thinking in terms of like
Right.
when they're at places, like what did Jeebus think about dealing with that Baigan and what he had to do to get through it, and like all of the trials and tribulations associated.
And then,
What
oh hey, ultimately you got a strength ring for it.
exactly, like all of that, and you're just like, yeah, the whole thing. I'm sure he's going to be exhaling in frustration at that jerk face. So
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. Also, I know that when Jeebus did the top of tower, the Globe 199 completely whiffed. Here it did like 600 damage to Young or something, so pretty
yeah,
funny.
the top
Um,
of towers is tremendously low, like one of the
yes.
lowest spots in the game. So yeah, that's gonna you can take a lot of hits from a lot of gross. Like you could just take a Zantetsuken from Odin like face front, and you probably are gonna only do like less than 1,000 damage to anybody. And you can usually just not even lose a character fighting him. So yeah, that spot's super weird like that.
And there is the Pinktail turn in for Jeebus. Let's make sure that he remembers to turn the Forge in before going
Hey,
to Zeromus.
if nothing else, he did not see the go mode and the crystal thing show up, so hopefully that's at least enough indication that, oh crud, I still have the other thing.
Yeah.
And he's heading there, so that's good. So yeah, we aren't too long for seeing where this is going to be going, and the particular fight that we're going to have at the end here is too far uh, from our view.
And I am excited because I know that there's what is it, 250 some odd, 252? Or no,
Oh
excuse me, 525. It's like
yeah,
252 songs and 520 something sprites. So it's exciting. I always like to see new ones.
yeah. Actually, I just was it this morning or yesterday? I just saw it was Emil, the guy from I don't know if you've ever played Nier. He's also Yoko Taro head.
Oh,
If you ever
nice.
seen Big Sphere head, so it was awesome, like super high res, like Scala. That crushed. That was such a good Z sprite. There's so many good ones, and so many of them made by the amazing Scala Kitty. Uh, and they are just sick. Like some of them just kind of blows my mind. Like, wait, a Super Nintendo can render that? Like, really? That's possible? And absolutely. And it's cool to see. And Scala really brings that out. Like, brings out the capabilities of the Super Nintendo and the ability to like make good sprites for it. So super rad. And we're gonna get to see something pretty cool. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen any of those things flying around with the letter on it. I guess because everybody did it earlier because of the Z's, because of the sleepy bomb when we saw the package go off. So maybe they forgot. They're just all sleeping. It's possible.
It's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah. Oh, and Jeebus out of that Pinktail got the Avenger, and he didn't. I don't think he had an Avenger yet because he never checked. I, was it in the Treasury? I don't remember what there was an Avenger someplace, but I don't think he had one until now. But yeah,
It couldn't have been the Treasury because there's no tier
right,
sevens in the
right,
Treasury.
yeah.
But yeah, I see a bunch of these flags again. Didn't we do this song and dance earlier? Like literally dancing with Z's.
We did, absolutely did. This time is a little different though. We got to
Oh,
fight the final boss, Aromas, as we always do. However, uh, we don't bother moving him because he's got all sorts of strange mechanics. We don't need to move him. We just put on a new costume for him every time, and the costume has a booty on it, and we like to say specifically about the booty because we are fans of the booty here. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
that's kind of rude. Why are we kicking butts? Why can't we just be friends?
Good question. Unfortunately, there is no amicable resolution indicator in this game, so I think we just got
Oh,
and figure it out.
Okay, so we just have to save the world instead. I gotcha.
Yeah, you can't just sit around and drink margaritas. I guess you actually have to fight the source of all hatred on the moon.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I'll allow it.
But here we go. It's coming. It looks
Time
like
to bring the pain. Because that's Kane's name. Get it? Okay, I'll stop.
He's already been brought. You don't need to bring him now. Too late.
Oh, right. Okay. That's a fantastic one.
Ooh, yeah. Give me that end boss Final Fantasy VI Kefka action with the wings and oh wow. That's super good. That's one of the best sprites in Final Fantasy VI. Bring that over to Final Fantasy IV. Yes, please.
I mean, I think we can all agree that Final Fantasy VI is the second best Final Fantasy to Final Fantasy IV. I think everybody agrees with that, especially Asuka. And I know that Kefka is the best final boss in any, best ultimate villain, if you will, in any Final Fantasy.
Absolutely the best character development, not even close. Like, just so much detail about backstory and who he is and, like, his favorite color and everything. Like, you just learn everything about him. It's amazing.
Yeah, Kefka is just perfect. Like, you could not do it better.
Well, he's not perfect. He's not totally perfect because he's bad and he has to get beat up. Poor him.
Almost perfect.
Perfect, exactly. Also, you should put on some pants. Well, no, I take it back. You know what? That's the one thing he's got right is I hate pants.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have pants to race. You don't have to have pants to be a Zeroma sprite. You don't have to have pants to do comms. You don't have to have pants to do a lot of things. Wait, did I say that out loud?
Oops. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, not sorry, actually.
But looks like Jeebus is doing Berserk strats with a little bit of hybrid in there for Reflect also. Some lit 3s coming out of the kid. Doing a respectable 4,000 damage on the Reflex. And then this Fusoya also getting a Star Veil up. So this is my assumption anyway. The expectation that Palom is going to die at the next Big Bang, and there is no way that Jeebus is going to take the time to heal him.
Yeah.
So basically, when he dies, and just push as much damage as possible. We may be seeing nerfs here as well. I'm not sure how close to the vest Jeebus is going to play this with nerfing Big Bangs or not.
He doesn't have those crystal rings that JBrun does, and that's actually a pretty sizable difference in terms of the kind of damage you're going to be seeing on an unnerfed Big Bang. I mean, I think Kane would still survive a Big Bang no matter what. Like, he's got some Dragoon gear on, and he's a little hardier. That Edge could die at 2393. Like, that's not a given. So yeah, it might behoove him to do a nerf, but honestly, like, if he's coming fast enough and coming with the damage enough, like, maybe he doesn't need to.
Yeah, it looks like he got the tip. So this is going to be one where when he shakes, I think Jeebus is going to go for the nerf then. I may have missed it. He may have just decided to get a Silk Web out anyway while he has the time.
I saw a shake then, just a moment earlier. Yeah. The shake was there. So yeah, that's
okay.
He's probably trying to nerf it, I assume.
Yeah, so there's the nerf. Unfortunately,
King gets the nuke Big Bang back to back, so he's not hanging out.
Yeah, and that was a high roll on that nuke as well. So does this turn into a two-man show between Fu and Edge, or does he try to get Kane back up as well?
So bear in mind, over on JBrun's side, where we're watching Jeebus fight through Z, JBrun has just gotten 2 more objectives loaded. He's got the Adamant Rock, and he's ready to forge, and he has that pink tail ready to turn in. So he is on his way to go mode as well, and will probably be heading back up through the moon to go fight Z, not too far from now.
Ooh, well, ouch. This is interesting now.
Okay, hi. So yeah, now we've got a Zerked Edge who can't do anything except swing his sword and nobody to heal. So he has to hope that that's enough power to finish off, or that he gets a black hole conveniently placed and he can get a life off. But I'm guessing the more likely outcome is that he'll get to rocks. There's rocks.
So yeah.
Like, he can take another rock, so this should be game over.
Yeah, this should be one more set of rocks. and then a swing after that, and the fight should end.
You're too early, PK. What are you doing? Don't jinx him. Or maybe I'm too late. I don't know. Timing is weird on these streams. And boom! And the crumble. Jeebus goes 2-0. Kefkamus is no more.
Jeebus is 2-0. The seed is 1-0.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, Jeebus is 2-0 asterisk, I think. The asterisk is this seed. What in the heck?
and speaking of Jeebus, GG's Jeebus, who is now joining us. Yeah. How you feeling, buddy?
Oscar must be stopped. This is too much. I was feeling really. I felt really good until the Baigen, and I shouldn't have taken as many swings at him as I did. But I don't know. I just love trying fights that I shouldn't win and somehow making it out. But this one was just a bit. It was just a bit too much. Maybe if I had some real armor or something, I could have made something of it. But it just wasn't happening, and I just I couldn't. I just had to laugh when I finally did it, and I had the tower key, and all the tower key led to was a strength ring.
Yep.
I
just was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, that white whale. We were talking about that a lot this scene. I'm actually kind of curious. Like you ended up obviously going back and taking out Baigen. Was that a grudge thing? Was that a logic thing? Like, were you looking at that like that was just gross, and there's no way if all the places that it could be like that Go mode has got to be hidden behind this because it's gross, and that might be a thing that JBrun also skipped. Was that kind of your logic, or were you just kind of like, I gotta kick this guy's butt?
It was honestly a grudge. I wanted to take it down. I was tilting through about half of that scene, and I was like, all right, Baigen, you and me, you're going down. I knew the play was probably either the gauntlet or the dark imps that I had left behind, but I wanted to take him down, man. I wanted to win that fight. I was so mad at it.
I don't know if you talked in the race room or anything like that. If you had a chance to see like about other stuff, but if you don't know, Rosa was behind the package. Package was in ordeals, and that's the thing you never did. So that actually was the other thing.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Because like looking back at it, my decision to just take one swing at Golbez and leave versus my decision to take 3 swings at Baigen and then leave and then come back for a 4th swing.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't make sense, right? Because the easy one in that equation is the Golbez. If I was going to take the attitude that I'm just going to fade the harder fights, then I should have taken the Golbez and I should have faded the Baigen. But that's something you realize in the 10 minutes when you're finally winding down from the seed. And it's like, well, I can probably do that better next time.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you got to where you were, like that far through the race, I wonder if like you knew, like, of course, Ordeals is here, but honestly, like if the seed would be over if that was the go mode, if that was where the path was, like maybe I don't know if you were thinking kind of like that, like there's no reason to go here, it's gonna take some time, and it was so early on that if that's where go mode was, then I would have gotten it already.
Right.
Or your opponent would.
And that's the other thing, like it was we had gone to the 140 minute mark, the 150 mark, the 2-hour mark, and no one had that done, so it was like, okay, so it's either the gauntlet or this really gross Baigen, or something just fizzled in both of our routings, and one of us got luckier than the other, basically.
Yeah, I think it was at least for chat and for us in the booth, it was really exciting to watch because there was a ton of divergence between the two of y'all. We got to see obviously everything in the seed. with the exception of the giant, between the two of y'all. And it did seem like there was a lot of that kind of meta play happening, but it was extraordinary to watch. And I wanted to commend you on a lot of really good fights. I know the thing that you're going to take away from this is how much you shouldn't have fought Baigen, but there were a lot of really good moments in there. And I think folks watching you understand how good you are, and I think you should be commended for that. And congratulations on being 2-0, of course.
Thank you very much. As much as frustrating as it is in the moment, I really did have a lot of fun. Like you said, there was a lot of fights that I felt good about, and this is kind of what I play for. It's the highs and the lows of Free Enterprise, all rolled into one seed and given the Asuka 424 stamp of approval.
Yeah, if you like emotions, this is a good seed. You're going to have all of them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, any final thoughts?
No, I want to. Well, yes, I do want to thank our Restream team, Groundflyer and Possum on comms. We have Oscar 424 as our restreamer, and today on tracking is Alchemy. Thank you very much to the community, as always, for joining us for these nights of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching.
Oh yeah, heck yeah! There's no way you could watch this without being excited. It was a roller coaster ride, and JBrun on our screen is about to enter Z2. So you two are very close, and it's been a close roller coaster ride. Honestly, we didn't know who was in the lead almost the whole time. So you put on a great show, and yeah, thanks a whole bunch. I hope to see you continue to do great things in the weeks to come.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, Jeebus. GG
Peace
again.
out. And now we are having our second rendition of Butt Time, with Zeromus being taken on by JBrun. Those HP values are kind of bananas. I don't think he's going to have a problem with this fight. Honestly, it's basically like you could basically like just Zerk and put your controller down and just like have a drink.
As someone who had 2 Porums with 3000 HP just yesterday, I agree. These HP values are fantastic. Just the power overwhelming, and you love to see it.
Unless it's Porum, I take it, right?
Well, that involves having a Porum, which, thankfully we don't have one on stream right now, so we're good.
Porum was the starter and was not the finisher.
As is so often the case. But here we have Kefka again, and looks like we are getting a start with Kane Zerked, Rosa going to probably drop a slow or a Zerk, one or the other. We'll see how JBrun wants to approach this. We get a bluff from Palom, so he's guaranteed going to be doing quad 9s at this point, given those levels, if he wasn't already.
Yes, but he's got actual gear and levels, and a bluff. That's plenty for him to quad 9.
Yeah.
And he's got that Rosa. He's definitely going to be hybriding this one, because he can do just as much black magic as punching.
Yeah. This is an incredibly strong hybrid team that JBrun has built here.
Yeah, it would only really be stronger if either Kane or Yang were replaced by a Cecil, basically, at this point.
Yeah.
You've got basically the perfect everything else. I mean, I guess a Fu would be helpful, whatever. But yeah, it's great. It's been a tough slog for JBrun, and as it was for Jeebus. It's been some real fighting here. So it'll be. I'm sure JBrun is going to feel really good. Well, JBrun of 15 minutes ago is going to feel really good getting this over with.
I mean, the other thing as well, at the end of a seed like this, where it has been trying, to say the least, it's nice to kind of have an easy Z fight. Everything else to this point has been a long, winding path with a lot of despair throughout. So while there have been some definite highlight moments, overall, it's been a tough one for the runners. For runners of this caliber to have 2 hour plus times, that's harsh. That speaks to the rudeness of the seed and kind of the disjointed nature of all the checks.
Honestly, for both of these runners, it's unlikely they will have a race this long again. Like that's how bad this was, because they're so good, and so often the seeds are averaging a lot closer to $1.50 or less, and these folks would be on the lower end of that. That seeing them both over 2 hours is really shocking. But they basically had to almost full clear this whole seed. Between the two of them, you got 17 to 17.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, Possum, I feel like we keep getting some really good races.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like in this one, and you said it earlier, up until the hour and 55-minute mark, there was no clear winner on this, no clear advantage.
Yeah, because they both checked stuff that the other one hadn't. They had both been places the other one hadn't. They had advantages the other one didn't. As time got later, I think jeebus kind of crept further and further into into actually a prominent position. But when he didn't have that foo and JBrun had that Rosa, and JBrun got hook early and got those sirens, like it definitely looked like a totally different race at that point.
100%.
But that's the fun of free enterprise. You don't know what you're going to get. Like all the way through, you got to play all the way through the seed, and you never know where things are going to end up.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the randomizer.
Heck yeah.
Looks like rocks. Yep, there's rocks. And that's what we were kind of talking about, the easy breezy Zeromus fight here. About as seamless as it gets for JBrun, which again is really nice given the rest of the seed. So and there's the crumble. GG
Crack.
To JBrun.
GG JBrun. And he has a time of 2 hours 17 minutes exactly.
And JBrun will be moving to 1-1. Do not let this time deceive you. You don't want to face JBrun if you're 1-1. He is quite good. And also, for jeebus in the 2-0 bracket, don't let a time of 2:05 deceive you. Also quite good. This was just a very trying seed. So we'll see if we can get JBrun in for an interview if he would like one. We would definitely like to get his thoughts on some things. I know that myself and some members of chat also curious about the edges, and also kind of the spoonword decision as well. So we'll see if we can get JBrun in and have a little chat and see how he's feeling, if he's down for it.
Looks like he'll be coming here in just a moment.
But in the meantime, make sure again, since we have one last chance to do so, give everyone a follow. Give Groundflyer a follow. He's he says I can't say anything nice about him other than his commentary, so he's good at comms. Give him
There
a
you
follow.
go. You got it.
Give Asuka a follow. Maybe she'll even roll one of your seeds. If you enjoy that kind of thing. Make sure to give Alchemy a follow. A fantastic tracker and a very good person for the free enterprise community as well. And jeebus and JBrun, they put on a show for you. Yeah, definitely give them a follow. They are deserving of your praise. They are deserving of your follow. And speaking of that deserved nature, GG JBrun, I know not the win you were looking for, but GG on getting through that seed. That was a slog.
Yeah, thanks. It was something.
That's certain. Yeah, I don't know if there's a good adjective to describe how that was. But you managed to make it through, and despite the fact that this was over 2 hours for both of you, it was definitely horrible for both of you in different myriad ways. Like you both did a lot of different pathing, which was super fascinating. You took different characters, you had different advantages and disadvantages the whole time, but we couldn't really tell who was ahead the whole time. Like, so it was absolutely a fantastic race. I guess one of the quick early questions that was on Possum in my mind is, you saw two edges and didn't pull the trigger on either of them. Is there a particular reason why you didn't want them?
Not really. I just kind of had the party in mind and just went with it.
That makes sense. You go with what's comfortable already. You already got it. You don't need to don't broke what's fixed, or don't fix what's broken. There we go.
Exactly.
The other character question I had for you was about Edward, since Spoonward would have been on the table for you in particular. Was that something you were ever considering, or not as much?
For a split second, when I checked the character in there, but yeah, same thing. Just looking at his stat growth for the end game.
Yeah,
so
or
really
lack
comfortable
thereof.
with it. Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. So take us through kind of, like you did the package early. You had the ordeals check and all of that. You had the Rosa. Were you kind of committed to full clearing Earth at that point? Or were you trying to just look for a darkness crystal and get to the moon as quick as possible? After getting that Rosa, that early objective out of the way, and that preeminent white mage, what was kind of your mindset on the routing at that point? Like, where were you looking to go on this seed?
Well, I wanted to get some levels before heading to the moon, because I don't know if it's just my lack of in-battle abilities or what, but yeah, the moon is generally more difficult for me. So clearing the Earth and the underground certainly came first, and doing the boss fights over and over again certainly hurt me. As I ran into, was it like 4 or 5 wipes?
Yeah, banging your head off a boss is definitely not exclusive to you.
Yeah.
Jeebus did quite a lot of that on Baigen especially. So yeah, there's some super rude bosses in the seed, and a couple of them were necessary, and a couple of them were totally laugh at you. They've got nothing. But obviously that Mist Dragon had heck, what was it? Was that the Tower Key? No,
Baron Key.
that was the Baron Key. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Baron
Right.
Key.
Yeah. Yeah, you took, I think, a wipe to Demist, a wipe or two to Mylon, a wipe or two to Antlion. Jeebus took a wipe to Demist, I believe, 2 or 3 to Baigen, and there were some other ones in there. Like, both of you got stifled quite a bit, and for 2 runners of your caliber collectively, this was a challenging seed. I'm sure you wish you would have run it cleaner or whatever, or whatever the terminology would be, but there was a lot to struggle through in this one, and to get through it, I think, is the real victory. I know, again, it's not 2-0, it's not where you truly want to be, but this would be, as some folks might put it, a character builder.
Oh yeah, that's
certainly.
And it sets you up to know kind of the high and the low of what the flag set can deliver. So if nothing else, it's great preparation for the rest of the tournament. And I think you're still a runner to be feared. I sure as heck wouldn't want to face you at 1-1. I know that.
If anyone saw this race and discounts JBrun after seeing this race, they are completely out of their minds. JBrun, a lot of there were some things that didn't work out great, but a lot of what I feel like both runners did that maybe looked a little weird or didn't seem like the straightforward best choice was because of meta. I'm guessing. Like JBrun, did you feel like you did some meta plays to be like, well, I feel like I'm this far behind, and I'm sure you felt behind almost the whole second half of the run. Did you feel like you had to make different spicy plays, or maybe went for a boss that was a little nastier, thinking that might have pay dirt? Did that change your routing at all?
It was mostly bailing on the moon after I got the Baron Key and what was it? The Tower Key. So normally I would have like just cleared out the Pale Dim spot and Bahamut, but having those 2 key items, just kind of hoping that they would lead to the last 2 items I needed.
One of the unfortunate things you didn't do Bahamut. That had the pass. So that would have obviously made things significantly easier. That was Jeebus ended up going back and full clearing Moon. He had skipped Bahamut and I think that in that Baigen spot at Ribbon, and so he went back and did those and found that pass, and that pass ended up being the thing that like made it, that really split you 2 apart. I think the difference wasn't that big, but once you factor in having to walk the whole blanking Moon, that's a lot of it. Yeah. So I think a big part of it, you both had trials and tribulations, but a big part of it was like a couple of different checks that one did versus the other, and that I think that pass was actually a pretty huge one. Obviously, like that's not having to walk the Moon is a big thing. But you did a great job, and I think I hope at 1-1 you feel like you are you still are gonna be kicking some butt, because I don't know if any opponent's going to look at you right now and be like, oh, this is a rollover, easy peasy. They'd be completely ridiculous to do so.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to not do the next seed at Battle Speed 2 for the majority of it, because that handicapped me a bit as well. Gotta check that Battle Speed.
Yeah, for sure. Battle speed, sometimes you want 6, sometimes you want 1, sometimes you want 3, but you want to know where it's at. And I can tell you I've run my fair share of seeds at battle speed 3 to 4 or worse. And when you realize it at the end, you go, wow, I'm silly. So I feel that.
It was good otherwise, though.
Yeah, again, you played great. We appreciate you, doing this race so that we could see it. Always fun to watch you race. Got a chance to do so during club season, and was always impressed by, your performances, your ability to do some low-level stuff. It was incredible, especially some like Fusoya and Friends type stuff in some club races. So you have some really cool tools in your little bag there that people need to be wary of. So I'm looking forward to seeing you race again in this tournament. I don't have any more questions for you, but Ground, do you have any questions? Or if not, JBrun, you got anything you'd like to add before we send everyone off?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask him that, so go for it.
All right, yeah, I didn't really have anything else. I just want to thank you guys, Ground Flyer and Possum, and Oscar, of course, for rolling quite the seed.
I heard some sighing in that thanks there. I wonder if there's a reason.
It's kind of what you expect from her. So
yeah.
So yeah, and was it Alchemy on the restream or the tracker? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks all to you. It was fun. So see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Thank you. GG's.
Yeah. GG's.
Thanks.
Take care.
You too.